Please stand by.
Are you all standing by? I hope you all know how to follow instructions.
I am not actually standing by. That would be extremely exhausting over any length of time.
Oh, you're breaking the rules already. Unbelievable.
I know.
All right. Let's get started here.
Roll out the pug.
All right. Welcome back. Happy Friday night. Let us see what wondrous things we have in store for this evening. I believe we are starting with everybody's favorite, journalism. All right, hold down the applause, guys. Come on.
How dare you?
How long is this one from?
The rest of your life.
Here we go. Oh, jeez. I almost launched Battleship Apologetics on you guys. Nobody's in an Eric Hovind mood, I guess.
Oh, not unless you have a death wish.
Not even Eric.
I have not. All right. Here we go.
What's up, people? Are you already live yet?
Yep.
Hey, everybody.
What's going on, guys?
No, not again.
Well, we didn't see this one.
No, but they're pointing a blurry
camera
at the sky again.
Let me actually move over here. You can see Gilroy.
Without a tripod.
And without a brain.
Oh, good. You can hear me.
Indeed.
Okay,
we
so
do,
here's
Darren.
the deal. We're here at the
unfortunately.
Fremont Peak Observatory. It's about 3,000 feet high. Kind of in the San Juan Bautista Mountains near Salinas.
Yeah.
He's in Fremont? What the hell is he doing in Fremont?
None of the residents knew he was coming.
Like the shithole of the Bay Area.
Hey, Bob, so good.
Well then.
Now, Bob, you'll have to tell me because I don't know if you have the same kind of telescope. In a second, I'm going to take you over and show you this guy who's got a computerized telescope.
Oh, no.
It's like the most sophisticated one here. And I am like shocked at the nonsense. So this guy points the telescope into a part of the sky, then like activates something on the computer and then says, okay, now we got to wait a minute or two.
Okay.
And then a minute or two goes by and then it shows an image which is a complete and total fraud. I'm sorry, so I'm going to take you over there and show you.
All right, in the interest of time. Okay, jeez, go ahead.
Oh, you can hear me? That's lovely.
Yeah. What? No, Hill, can't hear you at all.
Oh, thank God. I wish I couldn't hear him instead. But so he's trying to. Is Jeranism trying to use a telescope? Because I really hope not. Because if the lighting is as good as it's showing on screen, then I don't think he's going to be able to see much.
No, he's just complaining about how somebody else's telescope is a fraud.
Yeah, I believe he's just kind of wandering around. Yeah.
He's not using any equipment. He's not misusing his own equipment.
No, certainly not.
Misusing others' equipment. Okay, then everything's fine.
Yeah,
everything's as it should be.
He claims that someone has a telescope that that's with computer guided, and of course
it's a liar scope.
It's a liar scope.
It's a liar scope for liars.
Absolutely.
Or like, I wish I could make some kind of clever pun with the word kaleidoscope.
All right, work on it and get back to us.
Yeah, maybe I'll come up with something.
It's a kaleidoscope.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Aha!
Unbelievable. Here we go.
In 1 second, but I don't know. It is ridiculous.
Good. Just keep babbling. I got to fill the mug.
Because here's the thing. Let's say that he's telling the computer which direction he's looking.
Right.
Then he tells it to
take
an image.
Light. Isn't that
amazing?
Says,
it needs to let all the light in, etc., etc. But how would he ever know if what's being returned is really what's up there? I did not expect that. How would we know?
I thought he knows the equipment.
All right. Anything other than a pure optical scope Jaren's going to object to. And a pure optical scope, Jaren's going to object to. I think I've got it figured out. That seems to be the case.
I see it live. Oh well, it's just I can't even see. Kind of some nonsense. So I don't know. Can you guys see any stars? Probably not. That's not stars. That's the KDON and KSBW.
We can't see shit because you don't know how to work a camera.
We are currently looking at
everybody can hear me
a
and everything before I
direct
go over there?
feed from inside of Jaren's brain.
No, wait, there's a spark of intelligence over here. I don't think that's possible. Here we go.
I can't hear or see. No, there's no video or sound. What? Well, let me see. Make sure everything's working. Well, here's what I say. I always thought, no way, a telescope can make CGI images, but I did not know
Oh my
that
god!
they work that way.
Wait, just drink. Just drink for a second.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did he just say a telescope can make CGI images?
He did, in fact. But remember, he might be wrapped up in the idea of his associate that he's going to see who has his telescope connected to the computer.
I'm fairly certain flat earthers have completely forgotten what CGI means.
Yeah. I don't know
Did
why.
you actually start this from the beginning of the video?
I did. In
So
fact.
the guy forgets to have like an introduction to say what the F he's talking about. He just kind of comes in the middle.
Well, no, he said he's going to see his friend. Well, let's see what happens. Let's give him the benefit of that doubt here. Maybe
I'm not.
Honestly, how can you tell if you start in the middle? Might have. Really couldn't say. Anyway, here we go.
Take you over there right now. He's doing it for everyone, and everyone's oohing and awing like it's something cool.
However,
A second ago, he's like, I'm going to show you this comet. So he points at a spot in the sky, tells the computer where it's going to be, then hits like activate. Then we all sit around waiting for like 5 minutes, and then the image comes back. And I'm like, what? Can I see it live? Oh, no, I gotta go to the light. You gotta let the light in.
Okay, wait,
All
drink.
right.
Okay.
I think I figured out why. Okay, I didn't figure out why Jaren is so stupid, but I think I figured out what his confusion is here.
Okay.
So what the telescope is doing is basically it's a really expensive digital camera this guy has hooked up, and it's feeding the image into the computer. When you have extreme low light operation, you need to keep
Like dark.
Yeah, like total dark night sky. You have to keep the shutter open much longer in order to get the image. He could do this with his own camera if he walks out at night, sets it to auto for the shutter settings, and then just counts how long it takes for it'll leave the shutter open on its own. And he can see how long it takes with just a digital camera trying to take pictures where there actually is a lot more light than in the night sky here on Earth. And he could see how long it's going to take. It's that simple.
All right. Oh, look, there's Tao. Tao can't make it. Okay. Well, glad you're watching at least. Alrighty. Yeah. See, he's talking about the telescope being attached to the computer through a camera, et cetera, and being able to aim it through the computer. But so I'm not sure what the hell we're looking at now. Is this him wandering around with his phone looking at stuff, or is this? Because if I'm not sure. Well, you know what? Maybe it'll become obvious later on. Let's see.
So
Let's play a conspiracy theory module and say he's not really in Fremont after all. He's part of the global conspiracy to make us think there's a Fremont.
You think?
Fremont doesn't really exist.
Wow.
Hashtag Fremont hoax.
Hang with me.
Yeah. Aaron is part of that. He's trying to cover up Fremont.
Up to you.
I'll just be here. It's fine.
Fremont was an
You wanna
inside
see it?
job.
Yeah.
Except he's outside. Aha!
There's
It's
a
like Bowling Green.
huge telescope up in this box. I know you guys can't see anything, so wait till
No, we
second I'll get
can't.
close to this.
Thanks for making this great
Okay.
video for us, Jaren.
Why is the
Now we're gonna watch this guy.
Oh my god.
Live.
Why do you have the camera on at all if it is completely dark? What is the point?
Not entirely sure, but at least he acknowledged that we're not seeing anything. I mean, that is helpful. There we go.
He doesn't even know how to work his camera. He could
Oh, here
get
we
it
go.
to look relatively bright.
Now we're
Green
seeing.
floating in the air. It's a ghost. It's a specter of Windows 8.
It's CGI.
Little did you know, he's actually pointing the camera up. He's actually pointing his camera directly up. That's in the sky.
Ah,
it's a
the
I
computer
see those
screen
things
in the
pop up all
sky.
the time.
The computer screen in the sky that projects all that, the stars and everything.
Where do you think the moon hologram comes
When
from?
was that taken right now?
No, well, it's
Yeah,
right
Beetlejuice
over
on the
there,
left
but
there.
it was taken last night at 1:30.
Oh, okay.
There. So it's good enough for. It's in the sky right now. That's what it would look like. M104, the Sombrero Galaxy. The only difference
There must
between
be a
where it's at
cloud
right
there.
now and where I took it at right there is at
Oh, not the clouds again.
what, 23 hours?
Crowd, not cloud.
So what's the scope looking at right now?
It's looking at a bunch of galaxies, a whole cluster of galaxies in Virgo. It's gonna take a few minutes for me to get a couple of images out of it.
If only this poor telescope guy knew who he was talking
See them
to.
right there. Those are two big ones right there, but you got the galaxies all around here too.
Drink
Okay. RJ, you're up.
here. You know, if Jaron or any of the party people that we hear around them had the brains of a shellfish, they might at some point be like talking about galaxies in Virgo. Are there galaxies in Virgo? Are they just smudgy lights in the sky? Are they little light bulbs attached to the tarp that's hanging over the flat Earth? In other words, what is their view of what they are supposedly looking at?
So I
all we're
think what's
getting
going on
is
is he went to a gathering because Fremont has some hills and stuff, some small mountains. So he's probably out there where somebody. It sounds like this guy who brought the telescope is not a flat earther. And Jaron just went out there one night and is talking to these people and has no idea or understanding of what's going on, and is trying to say that it's all a bunch of bullshit because he doesn't understand shutter times.
he's
Indeed.
masquerading as a sentient being. Okay.
So he's going to go out there and catch him. That's what he's going to do. He's going to catch him injecting CGI into the telescope. That's his plan.
I
Yes.
guess.
If you can ever, bring out a few candles so that we can see what the hell we're looking at.
We did get
I
to
mean,
see
it's
that.
it really is amazingly simple that this is just a shutter speed issue that he doesn't understand because he doesn't know how to use cameras right. And
No.
if
When
he
you're doing
understood, he would know
time-lapse
exactly what's going on.
photography.
No, it's
All right.
not. It's not even time lapse. It's simply leaving the shutter open longer because it needs to take in more light. Because at this distance, those are stationary objects. So you're not doing like time lapse. You're just leaving the shutter open longer. You can get those cool time lapse photos by doing that. But yeah, it's just leaving the shutter open longer to let the light enough light get in so the photo actually develops.
All right, here we go.
So that's showing what the telescope sees live? Or it's like real time, or is it?
Point your camera, Jaron.
At the present, I'm taking 4-minute frames.
Tell us what
gotcha.
the F you're pointing at.
This was just
Glass
a quick
must face
30-second
subject.
frame to see where I was at. No, I'm taking 6-minute frames. Excuse me, 360 seconds. Yes. Hopefully I'm gonna make it a nice picture tomorrow. Or in the next few days.
Okay,
Please tell me this video isn't that long.
It's not.
I've seen broom closets with more entertainment than this video.
Oh yeah.
So the picture of this sombrero galaxy, how many pictures was that stacked?
14. 14 times 4 minutes.
4-minute exposures?
Yeah.
14 of them?
Because it was so low, I didn't want to. No, it was up here. What I'm thinking of is is Omega Centauri, which is right on the horizon. The sombrero was 14 by 6 minutes because it was high enough in the sky for me not to worry about the light dome of Soledad Prison, which you see right there.
Jaron might actually learn something if he pays attention.
Everybody
It's that pay attention part that's going to snag him.
Maybe.
Everybody visit my Patreon page, patreon.com/put Jaron in Soledad Prison.
I'm there.
I think we should put him in the Phantom Zone.
How about the danger zone?
I think Jaron is already in the Phantom Zone. He's been there and gone around the race course 3 times already.
But is he in the danger zone?
Danger Zone.
He'll get to it.
Anyway.
He'll get to it. Us
Did you
youngins
guys
gotta
did
stick
you hear them?
together.
Well, I see I can, but
Or it's
it's a 14 pictures, 4-minute exposure.
Jaron's really nitpicking
Yeah, we all-
over the fact that the
I
guy
don't know,
takes
but
so
actually-
many pictures with his telescope, he couldn't remember what the exact setup was for that picture.
yeah, that's
Yeah, we all know that number 14 doesn't exist.
That's true.
What a
14
shill.
is an Illuminati creation that's just meant to slave your mind. Oh
We
my
probably-
God,
Yeah, what's
Fire
one minus
Kushner.
4? 3.
Fire
equals Illuminati
Kushner is
triangle.
trending on Twitter right now, I have to mention.
You guys, but I'm unimpressed. Yeah.
Okay.
Where?
I'm sure that was his goal. Impress you, Jaron. That was definitely it.
Yeah, we're all very impressed with your video here instead. It's much better.
I don't think anybody can see. Same thing happened. We went over there. The guy's like
Did you
showing
ask to
some.
see something?
I asked if what he was showing was live, and he's like, "No." He's like showing everybody some sombrero galaxy. He's like, "Oh, did you take that right now?" He's like, "No, that's from yesterday." Sure it is. Every day is from yesterday. Sure, tomorrow you'll be showing people pictures and saying that was from today. Oh boy.
Yeah, you can watch him do it.
Yeah, I don't think you guys can see. It's really.
No, we can't.
It's not overwhelming. Like you probably can't see that. I'm sure you can actually. What is pretty cool is that is Gilroy, which is where I grew up. Which is
God,
Where
he's
something
from
went-
Gilroy, that explains
My
it.
apologies to Gilroy.
Where obviously something went drastically wrong.
Yes, seriously. What a dreadful thing about their educational system or their social networking.
Oh come on! I'm sure it's not Gilroy's fault.
I mean, they've got like some gardens and crap. That's about it. So it's basically the city it's part of the Bay Area, but nobody considers it part of the Bay Area.
Aha. All right.
We don't want it. We don't want it involved with us.
Well, I should take a look because since the Earth is flat, I should be able to see it from here.
Yep.
On the East Coast, I should be all right. Very
If
good.
Andy were here, he could go out on top of that mountain he always talks about, stick his telescope out, and see Gilroy if the Earth was flat.
Aha. All righty. There we go. More darkness. That's good. This is a short one. You'll all like.
How many minutes of darkness do we have on this thing?
We've got about 15 minutes of darkness left. I don't know. He might actually say something. Who knows? But anyway, this is a double feature night, and I believe you guys will approve of our second feature. Anyway,
It's a nice garlic festival. There
I
are
was
no
gonna say-
vampires.
I was gonna say, Lucifer, I live in Berkeley, and I used to drive down to see my ex down in I'm not gonna say where, South Bay, and so I drive past Gilroy all the time. Gilroy is a hick town. Lucifer knows. Gilroy is like, it's where the Republicans are.
Okay.
Well, there goes half our audience.
Indeed. All right.
Sayonara.
Here we go.
32 miles.
Is there going to be anything in this
My,
video? I mean,
This thing says I've got 2 people watching live.
two whole
That's what it
people.
says.
Aw, I thought there was a bunch of people in chat.
There is. That's why I'm saying it's probably not right. It just says, see, it says 2.
Oh,
Right. It's
Two.
a conspiracy, Jar.
2 people.
hi everybody. Hey.
They can't see. It's
Oh.
dark.
Oh.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. And the guy's kind of approachable, but he kind of just,
He doesn't want to be asked a question.
he doesn't really want to be asked much. He wants to. There's a whole college here, which is adding to the fun because we both looked at the moon through the giant telescope, and it was.
Pretty cool. It wasn't surprising. Or anything.
It was.
I hope you guys are watching the public chat.
Not overwhelmingly awesome. What is that? Oh, that's sorry. That orange light is not a star. That orange light is like a little.
Where the Republicans are.
There you go. That's a star. No, the orange light. They're looking at this thing right here.
Oh.
It's a little. These little pylons. See these orange pylons? They're just like. Did you already pack up the GoPro? Oh no.
I haven't stopped it yet.
So we got
GoPro.
the GoPro recording.
Oh, Lucifer,
How many
I'll
pictures we
say
got?
Lucifer. My ex lived in
Holy
Delray
smokes.
Oaks.
How many?
1117. That's like 1,117 images at like 3 megapixels each.
So hopefully we'll get some of the partial.
We're
spinning.
looking at the North Star through the GoPro, trying to get a little bit of a
movement of the star.
just seeing if we get some turns. But
Some what?
it's when Dwayne and I went out and did the balloon
I
launch.
think he said he wants to get
It was
turned,
much nicer.
as the youngins are saying.
No, he's actually looking for the bird, some Arctic terns that he hopes will be migrating through the area for no
I
particular
see.
reason.
The African or European
Here,
swallow.
I'm not overwhelmed. Okay, I'm gonna walk back there one more time and see if that guy's looking at anything.
Okay.
Everyone
I don't
else's
think I can
telescopes,
swallow
I did
that
look
Monty
at,
Python
what's
joke.
the
Oh, wow.
The Orion Nebula. He's like, look through there, you can see the 4 stars
done.
and the cloud around it. I'm like, whatever. I looked through, I didn't see anything.
Whatever. Whatevs, like
I know, he
galaxies
said
and
that
stuff.
to you too. And he's like,
Yeah.
those are only 350 million years old. They're brand new, just puppies. I'm like, oh God.
Lucifer,
Really
I'm in a conversation with Lucifer now because this Jaren video is so boring. Lucifer, is it the store over on the corner by the Safeway or the whatever? It's like a Safeway and there's a Black Bear Diner over there. Just let me know, because if so, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh my God.
Okay, your conversation with Lucifer is actually more interesting than Jaron in this video.
That's what I'm saying.
I
This
agree
Jaren video is pretty boring.
Yes. Well, we can actually see Lucifer's words, and we can see Canadas on the screen, as opposed to this pile of black going on with nincompoop who doesn't realize that he needs to like preface anything with context as to what he is actually thinking or saying or why he is doing this.
This is not the best. This is now normally I comment on when we're watching Jaron. I comment on yes, much. I'm being kind. all of what he says seems to be foolishness, but he does have generally good production value. This is not one of those.
This is not one of this. This is not good production value if it were 1850 trying to do a video.
Agreed.
Don't you mean 1645?
Oh well, yeah. Well, they can do a camera obscura then.
The good news is I know exactly where Lucifer's weed store is now.
Pretend box.
So if I go down there, I know where to go.
Nice. So this is actually put up. See, let's say hypothetically you had a channel. See, notice I'm not even bothering to stop the video because I mean, what are we going to miss? But
nothing. Yeah.
If you produced a video like this, and hypothetically, if you happen to have the YouTube channel, would you put it up?
What's cool is that when you look at it,
No.
use what's called averted vision.
This is truly riveting.
Over quality of Jaron's mind that he thought this was okay to put up, that this would not be inexplicable and pointless. Oh, Femo can't see Canada. Small insert window. The live screen is black with some icons in it instead of the usual conference setting.
All right.
Yeah, because we're not using our usual.
Yeah, you know what? Should I fix? Obviously, there is interest in seeing you, so I'm going to put you up on the big screen. Would that make everybody?
I'm so handsome.
Would that make everybody happy?
You'll look better than what's up there.
Oh yeah, here we go. All right, there.
Put up my beautiful face. I'm
there
just
so
pretty.
Here's the guy.
Yeah,
I'm just so pretty.
And there's like lightness in the room, and we can see things. We can actually see stuff. It's so amazing.
Yeah, stuff is good.
Man.
All right.
Yeah, just my boring. Who is that? Fino 3000. San Francisco Bay Area is. I mean, Lucifer. I don't want to say Monterey is part of San Francisco. It's. I mean, like it's South Bay, kind of, but it's a little further south than being South Bay. So it's kind of different, but it's basically if he was up in Fremont, yeah, that's Bay Area. But like the whole area, Monterey up to San Francisco, we consider it all kind of Bay Area.
You know, we're missing out on
screw this video because it sucks. We're just going to teach you guys about the Bay Area.
You tell them about the Bay Area, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, you know what?
The West Coast, the West Coast, we all know.
All right.
Or Sound de Pouget, if you prefer it a little bit more highfalutin.
All right.
Just don't call it San Fran, all right? Then we come find you and we beat your ass.
Oh my!
I just say SF.
Oh, don't you dare.
All right, come. Let's let Jaron
It's the
wrap it
place
up here.
next door to Oakland.
Yeah, Lucifer, I know
Fran
it's a
Fran?
different bay, but a lot of us up here in the north, we consider Monterey sort of part of our region.
You know what? Where's Red at?
So,
He lived in
hate to
Seaside?
keep asking you questions, but when you take a 4-minute exposure, doesn't
There we
the
go.
6 minutes.
Listen.
6 minute, but doesn't the stars move slightly? So doesn't that give you like a blur?
No, that's what the mount's all about.
Okay,
And that's what the guide. Okay, I'm going to give you a little lesson here.
I love lessons.
Yeah.
Teach me.
Okay, first thing.
Yeah. No, he doesn't.
First thing that when everybody first came up, I was aligning the axis of this scope
Uh-huh.
to the North Star.
Okay,
Okay, the North Star is right there.
right.
Okay, so the Earth spins around there. This gives
I
me
think this
a
guy
nice
finally
rough,
figured
a
out
rough
that
alignment.
Jaron's an idiot and
My
he's getting
imaging
pissed
camera
off.
is the DSLR sitting on the back of the scope.
Okay.
However, this here is called my guide scope. And what it's doing is that little camera is presently right now pinned on, let's get rid of that one. That's going to be my galaxy. That right there is pinned on that star right there. It's a real small. And if the scope, if the mount is not perfectly polar aligned, or another minute, you get 2 images. And I'll stack them up, and it'll look a lot better than just this raw image right here.
Yeah, ME6 Virgo cluster. 15?
15 goes into 1600, and that's your magnification.
So, those people in the background sound like they're having fun.
I guess so.
You knew that. You knew that already.
They probably brought drinks.
Mm.
Okay,
This video is so boring. So, Lucifer, let's talk about some restaurants, eh? Montreal. Amazing place, right? Went there a few times with my ex. Great food. I mean, that's one of my favorite places around. I mean, if you can't go down the Cannery Row, that's just for all the tourists, right? So my ex lived there. She took me all the good places. We went to Montreal. It's weird, though. You guys' bars all close early. That's just messed up.
No, not the objective.
You got to get some bars that stay open until a normal time, like 2 a.m.
What time do the bars close
All the
there?
objective does is give you more.
I want to say they closed at midnight.
Wow.
Yeah, bullshit, right?
Yeah, I was in. What was it for a while? I was in
If they
Rhode
wanted-
Island, and they closed at 10 in where we were. That was disturbing.
Yeah, if you wanted to stay out later, you had to go over to like Carmel, which is, when you've already been drinking, you don't want to spend the time to go over there.
Yeah. Here at the lovely Jersey Shore, it's 2. It's 2 a.m. And
Yeah, that's where it is the rest of California.
yeah, just a little north in New York, it seems to be 4 in some places, and forever in others. And actually, Atlantic City is 24-hour, oddly enough, in the casinos.
Oh, Lucifer used to work at Ray's. That's fantastic. Sorry, I'm enjoying this so much more than the video we're watching right now.
You guys
The video is garbage.
I have to agree with you. I'm enjoying your conversation as well, and I love the interaction with the viewers. It's great. All right, maybe something. Now, so far, the guy was trying to educate Jaron on the operation of a computer-guided telescope and how it functioned. So I wonder if Jaron learned anything yet. Okay, I don't think I'm going out on a
Basically,
limb by
the guy
saying
was-
no.
Yeah, the guy was talking about how, I guess, he aligns the telescope in some way so he knows where Polaris is in relation to it, and then using that he can kind of somehow, I guess, make the telescope rotate on a mount to compensate for the rotation of the Earth, so you don't get that kind of motion blur
Yeah,
that
actually,
you get with star trails.
I have a little
Which actually sounds
Celestron.
pretty cool.
I have a little Celestron that by it's got the built-in computer that'll do that. I never tried it photography with it, but for just looking through, it'll track things pretty good, and you don't notice any jitter. But I haven't tried it with long exposure photography or anything of that sort yet. but it has a jack to hook it up to a computer to do this stuff, and I may try that after seeing this wondrous video. Actually, anything would be interesting after watching this video.
Oh, Danlo is asking, what's Jism going to try to prove today? That he can figure out how to photograph a screen inside a room full of drunk students and pay absolutely no attention to what he's trying to do with it.
All right, well, let's see how successful he is with that. The good news is we have less than 10 minutes of this foolishness left, and we get on to our second feature, second
So far this
surprise
video, and
feature.
I'm pretty sure throughout the entirety of it, this is just going to be a showcase of Jeranism's personal incredulity.
Yeah. Fast forward 5 minutes and see if anything is notably different.
Okay.
Lucifer, is Scavia's that one over by sort of down the road from Montreal, a couple blocks away? Because I think I've been there. And what's the name of that restaurant up in the hills where all the cowpoke go to? You know, it's sort of, they got good food. It's like, I think it was Italian food, but I can't remember the name of it.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the
Sorry,
Canada Show.
continue with your foolish video, everyone.
All right, here we go. It's over soon. Relax.
M58 and you got M90. It's a lot of galaxies in the Virgo cluster.
Oh, Lucifer, if I'm thinking of the right one, it's across the street from that coffee shop where they do music shows sometimes.
So these two galaxies we're looking at right now are probably M86 and M84.
Bina, that will be a record.
Which is right.
The most concerning thing about this video is that there's children around to soak up all of Jism's stupidity.
There's no problem there. Jism is not communicating in a way that is coherent enough for anybody to actually understand what he's saying. So he's safe on that ground.
Yes, the kids may be okay. The kids are all right. Why is this video? Why was this video even up?
M86.
Oh, Lucifer, I just searched for it. It was Tarpies I was thinking of.
Virgo cluster.
Oh my god, I can almost see the outline of something.
Yes, there's a book in a hand. Must be a hand.
Oh, it's gone.
Wait. Must be a handbook. Oh.
Right. I've had enough.
Oh, God.
I can't take
They're
this
trying
bullshit
to find the index for how to get rid of pestering flat earthers.
I gotta hand it to you, Si. That one was pretty good.
Yes. In the world
the
where
oldest one in the book.
Fino, am I unaware? Did Jaren buy a stabilizer? Is that what you're talking about in your comment there? Did he actually go ahead and buy a stabilizer that holds the camera? Lucifer, I was talking about up in the hills. I don't know if you know what Tarpies, but it's sort of back in the canyon over by the airport. I guess it's not technically Italian food, but I think I ordered something Italian, like a chicken parmesan or something.
Canadas has transcended the video.
Welcome to the science and dining channel.
Isn't this so much better than Jaren's video, though? I have to say.
I'm glad you were available this week.
Flat Earth and Bay Area cuisine all in one compact package.
Absolutely. The rest of us are just stunned by the lack of anything in this video. Yep. All right, closing.
If anybody comes up to Berkeley, I have to recommend Top Dog. It's not 5-star dining. It's walk-in. It's a hot dog or a brat or any number of different sausages they make on this fantastic bun. You got to try it out. Top Dog. I'm telling you, the best.
That sounds like it almost required your special music. Maybe later.
Because I don't have much to eat.
Here we go.
Hey, man.
So, just making sure I have this right.
Okay, here we go.
So if we're looking at the same thing here, so what he does is he sets the computer scope on where he wants to look, and then the very expensive, very cool telescope moves to that direction, and then he takes images that he stacks that are 4-minute long exposures, and then he gets pretty sombrero galaxies, and
That's like almost exactly it. You have it correct.
Yeah.
It sounds
and
like
I guess he thinks that's like unbelievable magic and trickery.
Wait a minute,
because they're actually doing something with their equipment as opposed to clearly not able to show anything with his equipment.
Well,
Well,
wait a
actually,
minute.
Jaren's
Normally, when there's
over.
when Jaren or somebody else says something just unbelievably stupid, one of us yells "drink," and then we say what we got to say. What are we supposed to do when somebody like Jaren says something correct? We don't have a protocol for that.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
Wait until the
Precedent.
next. Wait until the next sentence when he says something incredibly stupid about
All
what
right.
he just said.
All
well,
right,
yeah,
good.
but also, he missed out on one level of incredulity where the camera automatically orientates to keep up with the thing it's observing, so it doesn't have motion blur. He missed out on that.
Aha. All right. Well, okay. I think so. So what you're saying is wait for the stupid. You're saying we ignore
Yes.
the okay, or we shall wait for the stupid. I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, it's like a
I don't
shockwave.
know what to think.
I thought that satellites were supposed to be in different orbit.
Yeah, why they keep
Because
going
when you
the
were
same way?
over there, I seen two again, and they go through the same exact path.
No, some would be in the same path.
But wouldn't they hit each other? Oh,
No,
no,
they're in
no.
the same path.
Okay. Oh, I see. They don't.
All right, guys, I'm gonna probably go. We're gonna head back home.
Wait,
This was
Mile Hill.
Call for drink hill.
So wait.
Yes, quick thing. How
Yes?
the fuck did they get on the satellites?
Not entirely
Well,
sure.
she saw some lights up in the sky, and then she goes back to that with just a delight because remember, she could see it from their house before there were satellites, and so it's easy to make that jump. And never mind that they're looking at interesting galaxies. That would distract her. What we need here is that little laser pointer again to keep her on
Yeah, I
track.
was, I was
about
gonna say blue laser pointer, or it didn't happen.
All right. So this is good though, because maybe he'll interrupt the video, go home, and then do some kind of make a bunch of assertions. And then we'll actually have something to talk about. Not that the restaurants and everything is a bad thing, but all right. Let's see.
oh geez, we have a '95 Ford truck. We did have a nice little 2004 Honda until the neighbor wrecked it. But now we've got a truck that was very upset at me for trying to drive up here.
Okay, you get the impression even Jaren is getting bored with this video.
Yes, his truck is upset and all that. Your neighbor
Yeah.
attacked your car because he saw one of your videos. It was justifiable outrage.
Oh, he's got. Oh yeah, that's my truck. It's not happy. And oh look, there's grass up here. He's getting bored too.
And we were driving right into the sun, which is nice too. But I am
Right into the sun. It's close. He can drive right to the sun.
Yes, it is only 3,000 miles away.
Disappointed so badly.
I'm glad we didn't pay anything to come up.
Yeah, we didn't pay anything, so that's good. But I can't see coming back.
Heck, I'm sure everyone there's very upset.
Here, I'll give you. This is the best thing I can show you. There's Gilroy again, 32 miles away. Did we see anything impressive? I can't even think. We'll see what the Missa took a lot of cool pictures of stars, and I've got some pictures. There's the moon again. And I've got
the
some cool
usual
pictures.
description of verbal diarrhea is exceeded completely. I have to think of whole new classes of adjectives to describe what it is that is not going on here that he thought was a reason why you should put this
in a league of its own.
Yeah, I have nothing to say. Usually there's a trigger in any one of those videos we watch. Anywhere from every 2 seconds to every, minute and a half, there's a trigger that will get me or one of us thinking about how ridiculous that is. But it's just mind-numbing so far.
I think it's like the high altitude of Fremont is causing his brain to atrophy, even though it's not really high altitude. I'm grasping for straws here.
Might be.
GoPro does, but hopefully you guys could hear that guy. I could hear just frustration in his voice. I don't know. Bob, when I get home or in a little bit, I got to call you. You guys tell me if that's the kind of
frustration trying to explain this to Jaren.
I didn't hear any frustration. He seemed very patient.
Yeah.
He got a little
Especially for someone who has
frustrated
to
at the end.
constantly, every time someone goes up to him, try to answer a question even multiple times over, multiple, not just many times the same night, but, many times during like even the same week or the same month of or however long this guy does it. So he seemed actually pretty patient.
Yeah, but there was a little stress in the voice near the end there. Let's see. Oh, Nieborg, this is not one of Jaren's better productions. He's walking around.
I think he should do more
air
things.
quotes.
think he should do more things like this.
Maybe so. Oh, look.
Well, back to the more important conversation,
geez.
Lucifer. I just looked up the places I was trying to think of. I was on Google Maps trying to figure out the names of the places I was thinking of. East Village Coffee Lounge and Alfredo's Cantina were the two places I was thinking of. The coffee shop and the bar right across from each other. Fun spot.
All right, here we go. And yeah, Fino, you're right. You're right.
If you have, and I laughed at people too who said, "Oh, telescopes return."
Emma says this is the best Sharon video. All right. Oh, we got it. Oh, Tim, there we go. Look at that. Tim, welcome.
Smith joined.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, man.
Hey.
You have no idea what you've missed, man. It's been wild.
It's easy to summarize. Nothing.
Hookers? Did I miss something?
No.
We decided to change the entire show. We're calling it Kevin's Cuisine Chat now.
Yes.
Yeah, Jaron goes out into the wilderness to harass a group of astronomers that are attempting to look at those pesky galaxies. And while saying absolutely nothing of importance, we got some delightful Bay Area recollections of restaurant lore from Canadas that was way more interesting than anything that was coming out of Jaron's ass.
Awesome.
So, gee, I wonder why everybody's counting down these last 8 minutes.
Me and Lucifer have just been trading restaurants through the chat box.
Yeah, if you ever do Spokane, I can give you the lowdown here.
All
right. Okay. Yeah, we do. Let's see. A few minutes left here. Here we go.
And by the way,
images. I said no, they don't.
The black screen with the lights flickering around on it, that has been going on through the entire thing. Once in a while, you'll see a blurry screen and occasionally a red light as somebody is trying to look through their operating manual for the telescope. And that is the sole form of entertainment that shows up so far on Jaron's little Mountain Fest.
Indeed.
There's nothing wrong with their television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture.
You just don't know how to hold it.
Yeah, we need some outer limits here.
All right.
A tripod would have been nice.
Here we go.
Well, the telescope that we had was an 8-inch Dobsonian, and it we could not see anything like a galaxy, you couldn't even see Mars. Thing looked like a little red dot.
Have it hooked up.
Right. It was
Maybe
like a Toys
Probably don't know how to run the damn thing.
Maybe a different eyepiece would help you out there a little. You got to have the right magnification. Otherwise, you see a little red dot. That's kind of how it works.
Maybe it's like the problem at the end of Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow. Lens cap.
I think
when you use elementary school tools, you come up with elementary school ideas, I suppose.
Indeed. So
yeah, actually, he went to elementary school, and that's part of his problem.
All right, let's wrap it up here. Maybe he'll actually make some assertions that we can respond to.
Yeah, but if they're hooked up to some computer software,
do you really believe that's going to happen?
So,
better question: do we want that to happen?
I know. I just don't know. I could be wrong. For all I know, maybe what I'm saying is impossible, and then what he's returning is actual images of sombrero galaxies. It just.
If we can't see it.
Well, I asked him too. I said, if it's moving, like the stars are. He says he takes 4-minute exposures, and then that picture of the sombrero galaxy was like,
you numbnuts.
I forgot what he said. 16 images, 4 minutes apiece, or something stacked. So, but if you take a 4-minute exposure, think about when we take an exposure. That's like a 30-second. That's impossible. You can't even hold a camera that still. So,
all right.
The telescope is on a tripod.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you called it. I'll let you have it, Hill. I'll let you have it.
Oh no, I said it for you. I wanted to drink. I needed to drink after that.
Oh yeah. Okay, since I'm the camera nerd, apparently I'll go in for this one. You have a tripod, so you can sit your camera on it and have it take those long exposures. For the last, three times we've had Aaron, I've been screaming that he needs to buy a tripod. That's why he can't get any of these images right.
And of course, he was practicing on doing his dick pics where he was just, hand holding it, and it's never quite worked out.
I have like 5 tripods in this room.
It's
he lets them breed every once in a while. That's how he makes it a tiny little tripod. They run
Here's
around
the mini
and they
tripod.
So sweet.
Here's the mini gripper tripod right here.
Okay.
How do you make a mini tripod? How do you make a mini tripod? Well, you
I
see,
didn't make it. I bought it.
When a mommy tripod and a daddy tripod love each other very much.
They're wheeler tripods.
All right, you know what? I better bring you back up on the. Here, we better get him up on the big screen.
Mickey tripod.
There we go.
Here's the gorilla pod. The gorilla pod.
Oh, I got one of those.
That'll grip onto anything you want it to. And my mini version, which is right now, right here.
And what happens when you lose the little piece that slides in? Oh no! Where'd you get the one with the screw?
Motherfucker, how'd I lose it?
All right, go ahead. We're seeing some serious equipment tonight.
Sci-fi fans are now scared for your life, Canetis. They can't see him when he gets out of the room. No, he's only playing with his tripods. He'll be back. It's okay.
Okay. Here's the standing camera tripod with the flip-out legs.
Most impressive.
You can get one of these, Jaron. This is only $60. Here's the microphone tripod, which conveniently you can mount anything to. You can screw it on right there. You see that, Jaron? See that? I can screw stuff on.
Jaron to be heard more clearly is not a service to civilization.
Nice big legs. And then you've got this guy. Nice and steady. It even goes nice and tall. You see that? Goes all the way up.
That's pretty impressive.
Like 8 feet tall. There we go. Those are tripods, Jaron. Please be watching this video right now. Please. Give me your address. I will send you tripods.
Watch Canetis do erections with his tripods.
All right, calm it down there, RJ.
Plural? Don't get him tripods.
He needs to pull out the porn music for that as he's extending the tripod.
All right. Let's
Canetis, how are you going to pay for all those tripods to send to Jaronism?
Yeah.
Man, I'll find a fucking way. Give me
do I hear
patreon.com / send a tripod to Jaron.
All right, here we're going. Here we go.
Well, don't the stars move?
Did somebody? No. Somebody just insulted me in the chat.
Doesn't that make
someone just asked if I use a P900? How dare you, sir?
You don't have a truth detector? You don't have a truth detector?
No, I don't have a P900.
So how much more is it on Jaron's fabulous view of blackness?
Oh, only about 4 or 5 more minutes, and we're good. And
actually, eternity in tripod minutes.
Actually, he just mentioned. I mean, we've cut him off, but he did just mention something that I think would have required a drink moment. It was about as the stars moving, how do you get a clear image, et cetera, et cetera. It's the whole point of having a drive on the telescope that tracks them.
Funny coincidence because actually the Earth rotates 1 degree in 4 minutes. So to do full 360 degree takes 24 hours. So, and at that higher latitude, you'd only need to correct for about a degree. Maximum.
It sounds like the way he was describing it, that telescope the guy had like an internal gyroscope or not that, but whatever it needed to correct for the rotation of the Earth. So it sounds like it was probably motorized and keeping on target.
Yeah, and I mean, even if the Earth is flat, there's no mechanism, there's no reason why it couldn't keep up.
Indeed. So yeah, that was his not understanding that the telescope had a drive, as well as a tripod. Okay.
Fino, I retract my anger. I apologize. I misread your comment. But no,
am I the only one that's worried at the fact that Jaron is actually driving on the road? That maybe if he can't handle telescopes and others, that vehicles and things might actually be a danger to himself and society?
You know, that is a valid concern. Of course, he is on the other side of the country from me, so I do feel a little safer motorcycling. But
he could crash into one of the restaurants there, and interfere with people.
What if he hits the dome? What if he hits the firmament and it cracks?
I'll tell you what, that area around Fremont has some of the finest Mexican food in the country. I'll tell you.
Really?
I can direct you to a few places if anybody wanted to. Welcome to Kevin's Cuisine Chat. I hope you're all enjoying your time here with us today. Today we're going to be discussing the restaurants of Fremont, California.
All right, let's let him blather on for a little long. Not you, Kevin. Jaron. You're not blathering. Here we go.
It does. The telescope keeps track of them.
Okay.
So I don't know.
To me, there's enough room for
fuckery.
For deception, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and call
Drink.
bullshit on that.
I heard a drink call.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, people have been doing tracking with telescopes even since like the 17th century with like weights in order with sort of a weight mechanism to make some gears go to slowly make the telescope turn. People have been doing that since like the late like 17th century. Nowadays where we have all this great technology, we can't just like drop weights and turn gears. I mean, how could it possibly be done?
Indeed, I would agree. Oh, and
yes, MMA had asked.
yes?
MMA had asked, did I hear Jaron say that nobody could do a long exposure photo because nobody's hand is steady enough? Please tell me I misheard. No, you didn't misheard. And of course,
That's
you've just gotten the explanation from Hillel of why what he was just saying was a pile of flapdoodle.
Indeed. And Andy, if you're waiting for someone to disagree with you, I should tell you, I hope you have a nice, comfortable chair. No one is going to disagree with you.
Yes,
All right.
Andy, this Jaron video is crossing the thresholds of mega number 2.
That's what I like about Andy. You always get the straight story. Here we go.
I might change that.
But again, we're not astronomers.
If anybody wants to buy me one of those, I wonder how much that thing costs. I'll show you when
$1,500.
probably more. But when I get home, I'll upload the rest of the stuff we took so you can see the telescope that we saw. And
okay.
Can't do that now. But also you can see, I took some video of that guy's telescope when it was light outside. I know you couldn't see it now, so you can see what I'm talking about. But definitely underimpressed.
The images.
Yeah, you're not the only one, Jaron.
I think a chess-playing dog would underimpress you, Jaron.
Underimpressed is not a word.
Not that big of a difference.
No, even the
well, in his little world, he has a bunch of stuff.
Oh God.
Because again,
2 words. Oh, of the yin yang.
Nope.
It's
Jaron,
just
if you can't be
magnified.
factually correct, at least be grammatically correct.
And actually,
looking at the same,
to be honest, the camera makes the moon look more of a sphere than the big telescope did.
The big telescope made it look much flatter.
Yeah, the big telescope made it look very flat, very weird, but definitely closest I've ever seen the moon. But it wasn't. Wasn't a whole lot better than the.
Don't tell my brother's girlfriend that she doesn't see a ball of the moon.
Of course, it's a ball.
You're telling me that what I saw on the equator wasn't a ball? That was the moon?
On the equator?
I'm like, okay, Miss Paraguay.
Miss Paraguay? Is she getting racist?
I think so.
Or Miss Paraguay.
That sounded like vague racism.
It didn't sound very vague to me. It sounded like using someone's country of origin in a disparaging fashion. That's what that sounded
Paraguay
like.
is a fantastic
Why
country.
should we expect ad hominems from these nitwits?
What's
Now, if
shocking
you'd
is
like my restaurant recommendations for Paraguay, I can direct you to.
Not really, but
Happy April Fool's.
Happy
So
April
that was the April
Fool's.
Fool's joke.
It's
They
April
told
Fool's
us-
joke on
Oh
ourselves.
God.
They told us that
Sigh.
we could see a bunch of fucking-
Huh?
This whole video has been an April Fool's prank by Jaronism.
You think?
Yes. I mean,
Huh.
think about it. Completely black screen. Absolutely no useful information or information at all. Just nothing has happened. Nothing was anything. And then he just, he got us.
If it, you know what?
Andy,
if at the
Andy
end
writes,
he
my
says that.
God, Jaron, I made my own mount, my own scope.
Yes.
I just set up my camera to take I took a 45-second shutter speed exposure on my fish tank. And my hands didn't shake because it's on a tripod. So it came out fine.
Although the anger in your restaurant recommendations would send out shockwaves that may quiver through the image if you look closely.
There we go.
That's probably very true.
Oh, yeah, I should go back. Maybe that guy's doing an April Fool's joke on me. Maybe he'll really show me the real images. No?
I doubt.
Earlier when I wasn't, he's just
Funny.
going through. Oh man, I don't know. I have these images over here. This computer it struggles up here on the hill. I can't do it.
Doesn't
I can't
promote
do
it
it.
sound like that.
Or no, earlier today when you're like, they say you can
Not
see
even a little
galaxies.
bit.
I was stoked. I was like, really?
I thought we'd be able to see like galaxies
I
and
wasn't
stuff.
coming up here with the preconceived like.
He showed you a fucking picture
No,
of a
that's
galaxy.
the thing.
you
I was
fucking
actually
idiot.
excited and was willing to see everything that they were willing to show. And
But not what a computer is gonna show me.
yeah, and then the guys who have a regular telescope, I mean, I had the 8-inch telescope. He showed me the same thing. He says, "Look at those 4 stars there." I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "See that cloud around them?" I'm like, Looks like a scuff mark on a roof. I don't know.
On a flat.
Yeah, certainly was not.
This would
we should have
adequately
brought the laser.
explain why flat earthers have not contributed anything to the sciences since like ever.
Could very well.
Out here.
Oh, that would piss them off.
Well, that guy was shining his. He points out galaxies with a green laser or red laser or something.
Oh, really?
Oh God.
Yeah, because he's trying to tell people that's where it is up there. See, and then nobody can see anything.
It's funny because I don't see the Pleiades.
They're over there somewhere. He says I saw him pointing.
I usually see
like
them.
that.
Oh yeah, okay. Usually I see them really stand out, but.
2 minutes. He's got 2 minutes left.
That's.
I want to see a nice, horror story
the sun
about
set,
flat Earth
like at what
comes
time?
into
Maybe
a midst of zombie astronomers that
6:37-ish.
devour their brain. This could be a really nice episode.
Yeah, some hungry zombies, I would say.
The sunlight didn't
Maybe
stand
7:30.
out.
Yeah,
Got
but
about
the
the right
sunlight
mood.
is going northwest around, and it's impossible to have a ball with
Reach out and grab those fucking stars. They're not billions of light years away. I'm just
Yeah, I have to remind myself all the time. I forgot that the closest star I'm looking at now is 25 trillion miles.
I hate hearing that now.
Actually, unless you're in the southern hemisphere, you're not seeing Alpha Centauri, and that would be the only one that would be 25 trillion miles away. But who's quibbling over what continent you're on?
Do you think these are the kind of conversations that go on over the dinner table at the Jeranism household? You think it's limited to this?
Yeah, and even the cat runs away from them.
It's like, how do you know that? Well, look, NASA tells you. There's no way to figure it out.
I'm just gonna yell flat Earth real loud and then leave.
There's flat.
Earth's flat, bitches. Peace. Thanks for showing us your bullshit.
Oh my
fucking
God,
telescope.
he thinks that's cool.
Us because we are important. Not. So
You
much
are
like,
significant.
our life isn't meaningless on a
Oh boy.
He's gonna do a drive by. The Earth is
Feels
flat.
gross out here too. For some reason, I just feel like it's all atheists.
Okay, we'll just call a drink on that.
Noted atheist Kepler, and that noted atheist Galileo, and that noted atheist Magellan, and all those noted atheists who do work at the National Geographic. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we atheists are the only ones that promote that globe Earth.
Indeed.
Oh
That's-
my God.
That was kind of interesting.
I feel that way.
Well, it does kind of tell you the worldview that he's coming from, that it's flat Earth and then atheists outside the preserve.
Yeah. There's a clear definition of the enemy. The enemy are all ball Earth atheists. All right, here we go.
Somebody's like,
Wrapping it
go
up.
ahead, look at this telescope.
Alerts going off.
Can I look at your telescope? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. MMA, Jeranism household. Honey,
We're
what's
over
the
it.
recipe
Go ahead.
for icing?
Look at my telescope.
We
all
just
part of this
heard
big-
that guy's
we're part of
voice
this big-
on this video, and that's the worst impression I've ever heard in my life.
Universe. One guy was telling the little kids over there, like, oh, see this dust cloud?
I heard him say, "Don't forget they're billions of light years away."
Yeah, and he's like, that dust cloud created those stars 350 million years ago, so they're just little puppies. The kids are like,
And
what?
the kids would never ask, "Oh, how do you know that?"
Indoctrination time. Come on.
I'm ready to go.
I'm ready. I can't take this anymore. Guys, it's been fun.
Okay, drink. Jaren cannot take this anymore. That is drink worthy.
Except for driving up this hill and the fact I still got to drive home. If you don't hear from us on Globebusters tomorrow, I was heading home from Fremont Peak in my truck and I tipped over the side.
And so if you don't hear from us from Global, then send somebody to our
I
home
wish.
to take care
I
of our
really
Yeah, the
wish.
puppies at the home. Send somebody there, but I would probably should send somebody to get us first.
Well,
We'll be fine.
I would worry. Well, if we're dead, then it doesn't really matter. I would worry about our dog.
Just look for a truck that it looks like nobody should be driving, and that's us.
With a bunch of
Wait, don't they have a
trash bags
kid?
There's a bunch of trash bags in the back.
And they're just saying they just said I would worry more about the dog.
I believe so. That is a little disturbing. All right, let's let the last 5 seconds go.
Guys, it's been fun.
Bye.
Later.
Okay.
Down 4, 3, 2, 1.
That was terrible.
That was awful. All right. That's
Wow. I mean, at least some of his earlier videos had like pretty pictures and stuff, but this is just pathetic.
yes.
Getting lazy.
They had this. Like I said, if you had made a video like this and you had a channel, would you even put it up? And
No,
I've done better videos from with my pathetic little camera here at home. At least you got an exciting block of CDs to look at over my shoulder. This thing is just nothing but a blank wall.
see, I don't
I have a
know.
feeling that Jaron is part of the whole alt-right movement. You know how they call everyone globalists? He got confused when he heard that the first time and thought it was a completely different insult.
All right. Very good. Are we ready for feature number 2 of our double feature?
And what is that feature? Yeah, we got through Jaron in Jiggy time because he was boring.
Yeah, he didn't say anything. I mean, just mumbling about you. He almost gave the Russian vids rebuttal a few times. Can you believe this? Look at how fake this looks. All right, here we go. This should have.
Our next show. Please, can we get some unicorns from Fino?
Okay, I think Hill fell into the bag of potato chips there from that sound.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This
Hey,
one
Lucifer, is it raining down there right now? It's like coming down like a motherfucker up here. No, that's just back to me talking to Lucifer because the rest has been really boring.
Oh, all right. Yep, I agree. I actually was about to wander off on my own channel. It's disturbing. Okay, here comes the next one. I didn't bother with the protocols because of that. There was nothing to do during that. It didn't matter if we talked over him. He didn't say anything. But you all know the rules. If there's anything frighteningly silly that requires a response, just yell drink and say what you got to say. Or say who you are.
We have some drink-worthy moments coming up.
There will be. I'm sure there will be some assertions, at least assertions this time, and maybe some video we can see. All right, here we go. Stand by. In 3.
So how does this help prove that the pictures that we're getting from NASA from the International Space Stations are fake? Because
Drink.
Okay.
I just want to point out how much better this video is in the widescreen than the narrow we watched last week. It opens up new dimensions.
Indeed.
New dimensions.
I'm glad. Well, this was just for you. I made sure we had it.
On it.
Here we go.
And if from 300 miles away from me, something appears as a dot, then should I still be able to see it from here? The data, it doesn't resolve it, and so then just it's a blurry, and then just you can't see it at all.
See it. No,
Right.
Can't.
Articulate.
I'm not sure if Ms. Red was in control of her drugs this evening. Well, we'll see.
Or she may be the first member of her family to walk upright.
959 miles. The diameter
of the Earth along the equator is 7,926 miles, and from pole to pole is 7,900 miles, because the Earth is an oblate spheroid, and so it's fatter in the middle and it's pear-shaped, and so the slightly different, slightly shorter from pole to pole than from side to side along the equator, along the middle.
If she paid someone to do that special effects, she needs to get a refund.
Earth model. If you're flying at 33,000 feet, then that's 7 miles and above the globe. And so you're really at a distance of about 0.17% above the Earth relative to the circumference of the Earth. No. Relative to the diameter of the Earth.
How does this relate to NASA?
So if you're flying 7 miles above a sphere with a diameter of roughly 7,913 miles as an average, then you would be the height, the distance between the surface of the Earth and your plane relative to the size of the Earth would be 0.009% of the circumference of the Earth. That's how much of a distance above the Earth you would be.
Oh, guys, I just realized she's talking. Wow,
yes,
that's
she
a
is.
shock.
Rambling. It made no sense.
Well,
sorry, I checked out. I checked out for a minute.
That's okay. I'm waiting for her to come to. She may come to some sort of conclusion from all this. So far she said the Earth is big, and a plane flying over the Earth, the distance compared to the size of the Earth is not that big. So what she said isn't silly. What she said is correct.
A question. Well, she's not sure of herself.
Well, let's see. I think she may wrap it up with something silly anytime now.
From that distance, one wouldn't expect to be able to see any curve.
Okay. What is it with her making sense this time? I'm confused.
I'm not anticipating that. No, I'm not worried.
I don't know, but I know how to make this video better.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, we know. Oh yeah.
I'm just saying, you guys. There's quite an easy way to make this video much better.
Yeah.
Here's what it is when she's on that red futon in her basement.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage right now. You know her by her YouTube name, Orphan Red. She's gonna leave your wallets empty, everybody.
And
make sure you visit her
Patreon
page later. Patreon.com/buy Orphan Red a brain.
Very nicely done. Here we go.
Somebody requested in the comments I had to.
Vanishing point. Also, when you're that high above in a plane looking down, you'll notice that if you fly over the Rocky Mountains, the depth of field is shortened so that you see the top of the mountains and you see the bottom of the valley floor, and the distance between those
you want to talk about the distance from the top to the bottom of that valley.
And so it looks like a model that you'd see on a desk where just a couple centimeters difference between the top of the mountain and the valley below.
Maybe
and
so
if you're looking
much of a difference
to the horizon, then any height differences would also appear foreshortened. When you combine that depth of field collapsing so that differences in height are less noticeable, are less pronounced, and the tiny circle of the actual planet beneath you that you're able to see, these things come together so that...
You called drink, RJ?
Yeah, I called drink there. You know, the tiny circle that you can see, which is thousands of miles in circumference, hundreds of miles by her own definition. What exactly is she meaning by tiny?
I don't know, but the funny thing is, even though she said that, which she means in comparison to the size of the Earth, which is what is really freaking me out right now, because
she's almost she doesn't realize she's very busily digging the hole into which she's about ready to jump.
Right, she is
contradicting herself.
She has indicated that it would be almost impossible to notice a curve from with a limited field of view, which she mentions, and if she keeps going with the paragraph she started, logically, she's going to have to say that none of this is any indicator of a flat Earth, but somehow I suspect she's not going to say that.
Or we're going to be seeing a really wonderful whiplash of the brain at some point where a conclusion is jumped, where there's a
mental gymnastics.
You know, if I was a betting guy, which actually I sort of am, I would put money on that, RJ. I would agree. All right, well, let's see. It's got to be soon.
Let's just see what happens.
Indeed. Here we go.
When you're in a plane, you wouldn't be able to see any of curvature of the Earth. If you do think that you're seeing curved Earth, of the spherical globe, that's one of two things. It's either the windows on the plane, just they're either rounded to fit the round side of the plane, and so that creates a distortion.
Drink. If that were the case, well, first off, the degree of bending necessary to conform to the outside of a plane is relatively minimal. But let's say it is significant. And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but the axis would be wrong for creating that kind of a distortion. If the horizon were actually flat and you were able to see a curve, glass curved along that axis would not produce that effect. It would have to be the other way, and you'd have to be looking at an angle through it. Not directly out at a horizon.
I think this girl knows a thing or two about curves.
Oh my God.
Sad, it's supposed to be a science channel, right?
Again, you. Yeah. Science channel. Where do we get the best Mexican food in all of California? That's what we want to know. That is food science. All right.
Hold
up.
Got to change my music before I give you the answer.
It's not real science until someone goes out and tests it.
Hold on here. Hold on.
We're holding on now. We're holding on.
LM Sub-Zero, spherical globe is redundant. Yeah.
Now, the best Mexican food in California. Is this racist? I feel like this is racist. I feel
no.
bad.
This is themed. This is themed. There's nothing. There's nothing racist.
Food in California is easily San Diego. You can't beat San Diego, right on the border. You get everything right down there. If you want Mexican food, walk into a random Mexican restaurant in San Diego, and you can't go wrong.
All right.
By the community of San Diego.
Is there a GoFundMe for that? Okay.
Send your cards and letters to Canadas at...
Here we go.
Patreon.com/best Mexican food in California.
You end up seeing straight lines a little bit carved, or your expectations shaping your perception. And this is a well-established phenomena where a lot of times we think...
Emma, yes, that's what I was thinking. If the curve were significant enough to cause any distortion, that is how it would appear.
We see what is actually real in there. That's not the case. What we see is filtered through what we expect to see, what we understand about the context of what we're seeing. And so if you expect to see the curve, then
drink.
You might...
Just as a point of order, don't you use your music from Grieg on here. Don't you associate your Norwegians with your Rubik's Cube flat earth dogma here. I refuse to allow you that right, lady.
Okay.
Amen.
All right.
MMA, I have to say, Good Eats, amazing program. And if you aren't aware, he is putting out new episodes of Good Eats on the internet. Alton Brown, the best TV food dude ever. I have no idea what he would call himself, but he's amazing.
Well, and I learned the best trick for doing pasta. You always have a bowl with oil with garlic in it that you put the pasta in after you've cooked it to smoosh around, and it makes it preserve longer, and I swear by that, and has more utility than everything that lady has ever said on videos.
My trick for pasta is to order it.
That's quite a trick.
That is a good trick.
Well, I can at least cook pasta.
Indeed. Here we go.
Be seeing some carving, but it's just an illusion. And actually, if you were to hold a ruler up to the window, you would see that there's no actual curve. Just something to keep in mind. Having said that, I've seen a lot of videos put out by flat earthers that are trying to prove the flat earth by saying...
Oh, sorry, didn't hear that. What did you say?
NASA that you supposedly brought up, remember in your little black and white mode at the beginning of the show, the point about which she was supposed to be heading before she went off on this wonderful Technicolor widescreen 16:9 romp through her irrelevant brain.
Did I failed to mention the name of this video, and it's kind of good that I did because it seems to have nothing to do with the content so far. The name of this video is Proof of NASA's Fake Stars and a Flat Earth. That's the title.
Yeah, you see anything about stars and/or NASA yet so far?
No, we have not.
I'm just upset that we're not just doing a Don Rickles tribute show, because that is really the real issue of this week.
Yeah, it's or at least we could have Triumph the Insult Dog on as a stand-in.
All right.
But what I want to say,
I'll tell you what. After she's done enlightening us, Kevin, you any good at Don Rickles' voices? Maybe you could do those at the end if you want.
I don't think I can do a Don Rickles voice. I'm not Jewish.
Okay. All right.
Meaning it would be offensive if I did it.
I see. Look at you being
It's
all...
very difficult to do a Don Rickles. I can't think of too many people really who can. He's a absolutely unique delivery.
All right. Back to this font of knowledge.
Since we see that the horizon is a straight line, then the Earth must therefore necessarily be flat. That is not quite correct.
See, she's doing it again. She's giving an argument for reality here. This is freaking me out. Okay, and this was a...
we could almost play the same.
Of course, the difficulty would be that those people up in that space station, which I guess she's arguing aren't really in a space station, when they go away to the east, or rather to the west as they're orbiting the Earth, like, in which direction does it go? Yeah, they're going towards the east. They gradually see one continent and then another and another, and then eventually they're seeing the same land over and over again, and what they never seem to see is like an edge.
True.
And that would be one of the critical features that would need to be addressed. What is this space station? Where do you think it is? Why do you think it never spots the edge? And that all of that relevant to the little sparkly things that we've got on our wall there down in your basement.
Indeed. Well, who knows? There's a little bit of this video left. She may actually cover all those topics in detail. Let us find out.
Well, remember, she super speeded up before, so maybe she'll do that again.
Maybe.
Because of how our vision works. So, the lens of our eye, and we have this pupil in the middle is this big hole, and the optic nerve enters the back of your eyeball, and this big gap in the middle of your vision that your brain has to fill in the information for to make a full picture.
See, she's giving out real information. What's
yes, accidentally bumping into actual,
and like I mentioned
irrelevant
before, expectation shapes perception, context shapes perception. The brain is filling in all the information from what it can't get in the middle of your field of vision.
Wait a minute, drink. Hold on.
Okay.
I can't tell what that is in the background, but it looks like a Frisbee with some of the continents on it. I think that's her flat Earth model.
Yeah, and she actually thinks that there's like a curved ridge that moves around the end, and then underneath that is where all the unicorns live.
Guys, like, we're just really like, we're all flying around on this Frisbee we call Earth, man. And we're getting tossed between two frat bros out on the quad. I mean, that's life, bro.
From context cues, prior experience. So we have to be really careful about assuming that what we see is actually what is. One of the things that is relevant about how our eye sees has to do with the angle of light entering into the lens of our eye and how that affects what we see at a distance.
Okay.
Right.
Skippy, and your point is?
Actually, that last thing, if you noticed in that picture, she had that something far away does not leave an image on our retina. While technically correct in that diagram she had up, instantaneously it would not. That's why our eyes are not always looking in the same direction. There's the I mean, we don't notice them, but there's quite a bit of eye motion going on to compensate for the blind spot we all have. So it's not like our brain fills in the dead area with made up stuff. That area is scanned and your brain puts it together. So although that picture was correct instantaneously, shortly after it would no longer be, because the eye would have scanned and filled in that blank area.
Everybody, I just want to mention, I think we've been missing out on a massive business opportunity here to make tens of dollars. If we were to create our own flat earth model and sell them on Amazon, patreon.com/flat earth model. Come on. This is a good project here. We at least know we can sell 2, one to Jaron and his wife, 3, a third one to her, and then we just pick off the rest of the flat earthers on the internet.
Well, and you don't even, and you can have lots of different variations on slightly oblate flat earths. You know, you can have a completely square blocks, your tile-shaped ones. You can go for your hexagons to go for the wargamer crowd. You've got a lot of different shapes that you can deal with. Triangles for those who like Doritos. You know, you've got a lot of different ways to sell different models of the Earth. Yeah, I think this is a great marketing move, Canadis. Let's go in for this.
And for our Hollow Earth people, we just sell them a Cadbury Easter egg.
You know, that might. And hey, remember not too long ago we heard Flat Earth Asshole complaining that none of the Flat Earth maps were correct.
Yeah.
There's
Remember,
another one.
A P.T. Barnum, H.L. Mencken that said nobody ever lost a dime underestimating the intelligence of the American public. So I think we got some move here.
MMA, you've underestimated the value of meth in California. I will take payment in meth.
Yes, I see. Yes, we only pay you in meth.
You go to the Central Valley, you got some cash. One word for you, Fresno.
Moving on.
Which is very close to your eye, then the light from above is just down here, it's this angle, and then the light from beneath is just up here, and then just this little angle, and then your eye flips it, and then your brain flips it and makes the proper image, and then this is what you see, and everything that's in the line with your pupil, your brain just makes it up based on the information around it. This is
already covered. Wrong.
why if you're looking at the Pleiades constellation, you can actually see it more clearly if you look a little bit to the side of it. If you look directly on, it's a bit harder to see, and our eyes are actually shifting.
Well, you had a question on that one?
Well, or gobsmacked. I'll go a retroactive drink on that one. RJ here. What do you mean that it doesn't look? You have to look slightly away from it. I think that's what her problem is, that she's always looking to the side of things and thinks that she's seeing things clearly.
Well, she may be referring to. I mean, there are some dim formations in the night sky that if you look directly at them, you don't see anything. But if you look to the side, so that what you would be looking at is actually in your peripheral vision. And I have no real explanation for this, but I will say the phenomenon does happen. And it's not like a one-off sort of thing. Look directly at a patch of sky, nothing. Off to the side, in your peripheral vision, you can see the patch of fuzziness that would be a clump of stars. So maybe that's what she's referring to.
Or you could just get a telescope.
Oh yeah, that would work too.
Preferably on a tripod.
How much time does she have left to bring in the NASA subject that she suddenly left on the floor?
I don't know. She's got about. She's got 20 minutes. She should be able to fit the word NASA in there somewhere.
Guys, business opportunity number 2. We make T-shirts that say "Flat girls do it better." If she wears it, it's ironic as hell.
Yes, very so much.
One could make some loot. All right, here we go.
When we see the saccades anyway, so when you think you're looking directly at something, your eyes are actually making little micro movements.
That's correct.
And so your pupil is never really going to be in the same place or pointing at the same thing all the time, even if you're looking directly at something. And so that's part of how...
See, again, she's given facts. What she just said is true. We talked about that earlier. This is really freaking me out.
The brain gets information about what's
utterly
in
irrelevant to her point.
But so, if you look at the Pleiades constellation dead on, then although your eyes are moving around a little bit, so your brain gets enough information to give a fuzzy image, you'll find that if you look a little bit off to the side of the constellation, you suddenly see it more clearly.
What you got, RJ?
Oh, she's repeating herself.
Yes.
She's going around on a little teeny loop of the merry-go-round, not realizing, you make your point and you move on. So how many times are we going to hear about the Pleiades before we get to NASA?
Well, all right. We've got 20 minutes, so like I said, she's got a little time to say the word at least. There we go.
You actually end up with more information, more visual information, and a better sight of it, even though you're actually looking at it in your peripheral vision.
Emma, thank you. That explains it perfectly. Everybody look for it, scrolls off. The phenomenon I described is explained perfectly by Emma May's comment.
As objects move further away from you, then the light from above and the light from below the object is actually closer and closer together.
Okay, you call drink, go ahead.
Not to comment on her, but I gotta read Fenno there. Somewhere in Orphan Red's flat is a mosquito now suffers from PTSD. That's worthy of a thumbs up.
I would tend to agree. All right, here we go.
What happens in the middle? In the middle, there's no information coming from the middle. That's the information that your brain has to make up from context and expectation.
Okay, drink. She just said about a minute ago about the eye making micro movements, which the purpose of that is to compensate for the blind spot. And now she's saying your brain just makes stuff yeah.
I think that's what she's trying to push it's your imagination.
Yeah,
that's getting at the whole time.
Why isn't her imagination making up the flat Earth that she thinks she sees? Because she doesn't see the curvature of the Earth, so why isn't that just as much of an illusion? She's caught in her own logic bind here that I don't think she's going to manage to get out of while she's sitting there on her bordello red bedspread.
What if she pulls a side 10 on us? What if she pulls a side 10 on us and where you can't be sure of anything because everything you see is clouded by perception, therefore flat Earth? That would be the side 10 argument, and let's see if that's what she goes for.
So if you're looking out at the ocean on a blue sky day, you will see the sky meet the water at that false horizon line. But what's actually happening is the light from above and the light from below are kind of being smooshed together into one picture. If you see a boat floating away towards the horizon on the ocean, then as it moves further and further away, you'll notice that it moves further and further up.
What?
But what does it do at the horizon
No, it does,
when the
what?
ship...
Drink.
What?
Down.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't go up. It goes the opposite direction of up.
Pretty much. That's... I don't even know how to counter that.
And you don't need to have an ocean. You can do that very experiment on any large lake and physically verify that it don't go up, it goes down because the Earth is curved. And we're still so far away from NASA and satellite pictures. Oh, dear my.
Indeed. Well, here it comes.
disappears. So in the past, actually up until, well, for some of you up until this moment, we believed that the ship would go over the curvature of the Earth and disappear. And this is why the bottom of the boat would disappear first, and the sails were the last things to disappear, to sink beneath the horizon line.
Quick thing.
But now...
Oh, you got something, Hill?
Yeah, it's not just that. Yeah, it's not drink worthy, but it's not just the fact that the boat disappears bottom up. It's that it goes. It looks like it's sinking. It's not like the boat slowly starts becoming invisible bottom up. It's that it appears the boat actually is sinking. It's going down in relation to the horizon
by the water.
Indeed.
Exactly. It's not just like becoming more and more invisible.
Okay.
Not like the Cheshire Cat just disappearing and there's a disembodied mizzen mast floating in the air.
No, it's actually that all
exactly.
boats actually sink when they get 20 miles from shore. They all become submarines. You didn't know this? Have you never been on a cruise before?
All right, everybody say goodnight to Andy. Andy, there's a break in. Andy says there's a break in the clouds, and so he's no doubt off with the scope. So everybody say goodnight to Andy.
Have a nice night, Andy.
Night.
Bye, Andy. See you
Sneak
soon.
up on you in the dark.
Here we go.
We know, and especially through the use of these super zoom lenses on new cameras, the Nikon P900.
The truth detector.
Stop it for a second.
P90.
We knew it was coming.
Okay, it
We
stopped.
need to give Kanavis a second to rage quit.
Okay. I guess I have to grab my camera again.
Any minute now, you'll hear just a scream coming from his general direction.
Okay.
I've mentioned before, I'm a bit of a camera nerd, right?
All right, let me put you on the big screen. Hold on. There you go.
Not a nerd. Think of yourself as an enthusiast.
Enthusiast. That's better. That's better. Okay. So this is my current camera, Canon Rebel EOS T6. Fantastic camera. I didn't spring for the T6i because I'm cheap. But the P900, as far as I can find, is only popular with these people because it's a relatively cheap middle grade camera. I still cannot figure out why they are obsessed with this thing. They seem to think it has some sort of special bullshit about it, but Nikon is you have no idea how much this hurts me, okay? Really. It may be partly because I'm a Canon fan, but okay, the Nikon P900 is a 16 megapixel camera, which these days is relatively good. It's good when you want to do really large images. When you want to be able to blow them up, you want more pixels, right? And let's see, I'm just looking at how many pixels. So yeah, mine is a 18 megapixel camera. But when you get to the point where you want to blow something as large as they want to do when they're trying to prove things, you need more megapixels than 18. That's when you get into full frame cameras and the expensive professional cameras. So the video that Red did a while back where he's sitting there with Jaron and showing him all these pictures, there was a really high amount of blur when they tried to zoom in and get a real close look at the water line and all those things. That's because the cameras they're using aren't the really expensive full frame cameras with a really high megapixel rate and all that other stuff. But I cannot understand this obsession with the P900. Does anybody know why they're so obsessed with it?
Does it not have a very high zoom?
Aren't that good? You know, they don't get good pictures, so they can't. You know, it's a lot easier to pull the wool over other people's eyes.
I think it's mainly just name recognition.
Because core people were using that camera because there tended to be secondary addicts where they simply copy somebody else's argument or whatever they trope from somebody else, that becomes the camera, and they just repeat it independent of whether they actually have any experience with it.
I was led to believe that they were impressed with the magnification, that the optical was okay, but that the digital, which doesn't.
Okay, but the camera has nothing to do with the amount of zoom and magnification you can get. Okay, that's when you're talking about just taking a picture, you're talking about your lens.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to zoom in really far on something that's far away, it's all about the lens. The camera basically doesn't matter. If you buy an expensive camera and throw a crap lens on it, it's not going to do a damn thing for you. I mean, if you take a kit lens that you get when you buy your camera, it's usually an adjustable zoom lens. They're not very good. Yeah, you can get your basic photos out of it. But unless you upgrade that to some really nice glass, you're not going to get the pictures you want out of it. So I just don't understand why they're so obsessed.
So is it your assertion that the P900 may in fact not be a truth detector?
That is my assertion. I mean, I just Googled it to try and figure out. I Googled why P900 for flat Earth. And the only thing I'm seeing is they keep saying things like 83% zoom. And I'm like, so what? I'm just frustrated right now. As a camera nerd, I'm frustrated.
I thought we said enthusiast. All right.
Is it digital zoom? Wait. Is it digital zoom? Is that what I'm... Oh, okay. I'll look this up. I'll let you guys know. I'm going to figure this out.
So I know they were impressed with. I've heard them recount the digital zoom, which is secondary.
Garbage.
All right, here we go. Okay, back to Red. See what information she has for us now.
Yikes. I think that's an exercise program for people who have to go to jail.
What?
Where did that come from?
You look at the horizon, you see the ship disappear over the curvature of the Earth, and then you take your camera and you zoom in, and all of a sudden the boat is still there.
Okay, that's just a lie. That's not even a distortion or misunderstanding. She's never tried it, and none of them have ever tried it. When they say
because they can't.
Absolutely. I mean, I've heard all of them at one time or another say that with a telescope or binoculars or a camera with a zoom, you can bring it back. No, you can't. You can just make the image that's already there a little bit bigger. You're not going to bring back the bottom of the boat that is mysteriously
all you're
disappearing.
do by zooming in is make your image marginally blurrier.
So that's not even a.
She doesn't even attempt to show any example of that. You would have thought with all of the cute little flat earthers on the Earth, they would have had this done by now so we could all see it.
Especially with our P900s. Absolutely. Here we go.
Yeah.
The boat has not disappeared over the curvature of the Earth. It's clearly visible in your camera, just happily floating on the ocean.
Okay, that's just a lie. Like we said, that's not. She's never tried it, and she's putting up no examples. It's just a lie.
Frank puts in, okay, now she passed refraction into delirium.
Delusion.
So why does this happen? This happens because we have a certain vanishing point to our perspective, beyond which we just don't see. We can't resolve.
Flat Earth bingo.
Anything beyond that point. So the angle of the light coming in from that distance becomes parallel, and then because it's at the center of your eye where your pupil is and your optical nerve, then this into the back of your eyeball, you're not actually, you have no way of getting information about that point. And so your brain just fills it in. So
see it all from our little eyeballs. Nope, that's quite clear. We can't see that at all. We see great big black blobs popping around all the time.
Indeed.
She is so convincing.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for her to address sunsets. I mean, if everything she just, and God, this hurts even to say, if everything she said is true, then sunsets don't work. The whole half a sun thing, we have to be imagining it.
And of course, you'll notice how far we are from NASA and space station and satellite pictures, all those cute little things that she brought up at the beginning of her essay, and then has wandered off in the same tropes that every other flat earther pays attention to. I'm recalling in my mind that wonderful scene from that Stephen Hawking show where they're literally doing the thing that the flat earthers claim you can't do, which is you have a shot of the helicopter appeared below the Earth's horizon off the lake, and by radio the helicopter is told we can't see you, so he rises up and up and up and up until finally, bingo, he's visible in the telescope again, and they're hovering like 50 feet off of the ground.
CGI.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
It was like a series, right?
Yeah.
It was just on last year. Stephen Hawking, he would always be in the beginning of a room, and they would bring in various people that would do experiments. They were basically recreating the last 500 years of science on the fly, showing how anybody can figure this stuff out, and you can do it yourself.
Yeah, I remember that was a great series, actually.
It was, yes, it was. And what was good about it is they brought in people that did not know. In that episode, people that did not know and were sort of doubtful that they were going to have any results. So that was a great show. And if I don't know if any of you, we have on our channel, we have a video about it, but Jaren soundly rebutted that particular episode, if I recall, and I do recall, by making fun of Stephen Hawking for having a debilitating disease. That was his rebuttal.
Yeah, that's
through the whole thing. That was
fine. Though that made the data go away.
Yeah, that was his entire rebuttal. That and couldn't he have picked a better voice? That was his rebuttal. So
wow.
Yeah, well, that makes his a black on black video there that we just saw kind of not the bottom point of his career there.
Oh yes, he's done worse. Well, as you know, I'm sure I'm not telling you anything new. Nothing from Jaren, like we watched in our first feature, is better than something from Jaren. So, all right, back to this. Maybe she'll mention.
Wait, I just looked into the cool pics.
Okay, tell us about it.
The P900. So it does have an 83 times optical zoom lens. But so this is a point and shoot camera. This camera does not have interchangeable lenses. So basically, if you want to increase, you have to snap a extension lens on top of the existing lens that's on the camera. It does have 332 times digital zoom, is what I'm getting from BHP Photo, which is fucking crazy. When you use digital zoom like that, which I'm assuming all these people with the P900 are, because they're trying to get the maximum zoom, they don't understand how cameras work. You're not going to get the images you need, especially to show what they're trying to show. It's absolute garbage.
Wouldn't that be grainy? Really grainy?
Grainy as all hell. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So, but the 83 times optical zoom is pretty good if you want to get, photos of the moon or things like that. It is a good length. I can't attest to the quality of the lens. Usually you worry about the glass and things like that. I can't attest to the quality of it because I've never used one, but it gets pretty high reviews. Again, it's just them trying to bullshit. They have no idea how cameras work. For some reason, they think it's somehow special. It's just a camera that comes with a high-powered lens. So rather than them buying a good camera, like a full-frame DSLR, and buying an expensive lens, they go and buy this thing for $400 or so, and call it their truth detector.
All right, so it's a good vacation camera, you're saying, in your opinion?
I'd still go with the DSLR. Canon.
Okay.
Canon's got the new lens lines coming out. They're really great glass. Always just go with the Canon. That's my recommendation.
Shill.
Waiting on my check.
All right. Back to the foolishness.
How does it fill it in? Well, it takes what's at the top right above that, and it takes what's at the point right beneath that, because basically it takes what the first row, let's say, of rods and cones above the hole in the back of your eye, and then it takes the information from, let's say, the row of cut rods and cones that are right beneath the hole in your eye, and then it just patches in the same thing. And then it takes context cues, so it looks at what's happening on either side, and it just kind of fills it in like a Photoshop Band-Aid tool where...
Okay, I'm calling drink. You heard what she's asserting, right? She's saying the reason you see bottom of the boat disappear first and all that sort of thing is because of the blind spot in your eye, and that your eye takes what's above the blind spot and below the blind spot and kind of just merges them, and that's why it disappears first. I'm calling drink because this effect is also seen in photographs, which cameras, as far as I know,
of course she doesn't present.
Indeed,
Instead, she puts up cartoons and irrelevant cartoons. If you got the evidence, why didn't you do the experiment and prove those stupid global people completely wrong? And while we're at it, take a damn picture of the edge of the earth. Please go there. We will be happy to send you on ticket.
Indeed. Absolutely. And I mean, if her argument about the eyes is providing the distortion necessary to produce that effect, sure, fine. Apparently people are buying still and video cameras that also have a blind spot and do the same thing. I know of no such camera, but there you go. Okay.
For Fino in the comments, if I could afford Zeiss lenses, I would buy Zeiss lenses. But nobody can afford Zeiss lenses.
Indeed. Here we go.
Or just you can heal an image with the Band-Aid tool in Photoshop, and it just takes information about the surrounding area and then just makes an educated guess based on the pixels and stuff. And what happens then is that's your vanishing point, when the light becomes parallel to the center of your eye, and then there's no information reaching your brain for what's happening there. And so effectively the boat vanishes. Why does the bottom of the boat vanish first? Because the sail of the boat is actually higher than the horizon, the midpoint of your eye. And why does the horizon always rise to meet eye level?
Okay,
Drank.
That's okay.
I
Hill,
said it first. No, I
you
said
did.
it first.
You're on.
Okay, it does not. I have go to any mountain anywhere and use a level. The horizon will not rise to your eye level.
Was it last week that we had the cockpit view with the artificial horizon and the actual horizon being somewhat lower?
I believe that was the week before.
Week before? Yeah.
Has Red ever attempted to actually do any experiments? I think I already know the answer to this question, but has anybody actually seen her try an experiment like that?
That would be what we call a silly question, RJ.
Thinking so there, yeah. Whereas Mr. Hillel is deluding us with his actual do an experiment stuff. That's just when all he needs to do is to bring up some pictures and sit in his room on his bedspread, and he can solve all of this problem without ever having to do any experiments at all. Yeah,
All of that, I want literally all of that framed and put on my wall.
Especially the equinox stuff, right, Hill? He can do all that research right from home. And how is that done? By tricking other people into going out at ungodly hours in the morning to stand on the seashore with a goddamn camera. That's how Hill can do that research.
Exactly. That's that you do research by getting other people to do it for you.
And well done. You did in fact get me out there at an ungodly hour. All right.
Hey, I didn't say that you should go out. I didn't force you to do anything. I just heavily implied that it would be a cool thing to do. I didn't say anything.
You're right. You implied. And
I heavily implied.
Yes, you did. I will say, well done. All right, here we go.
That was a good observation, by the way. I did like that.
Again, this has to do with how the light interacts with the lens of your eye and the round shape of your eye and all these things that just happen so that...
Okay, let's stop it here and see what this says. Okay.
The light bulb is too far. Yeah, all of which is utterly irrelevant to her point. It's like she's gone through and found some Wikipedia material and clicked on the stuff to where she got the JPG that she can then put her little additions on, instead of actually doing any experiment or paying attention to her own subject, which is NASA. We got the space station orbiting the Earth every single day and doing stuff that is inexplicable from her worldview, and she doesn't even bother to think about it because she's now stuck repeating the same stuff that she did before. And I suspect she's going to fill out the rest of the 20 minutes doing pretty much the same thing.
It could very well be, but
actually, after this part about how saying, eventually it just becomes so small in your eye that you can't see it, she's going to say, remember she mentioned how just looking off to the side brings it back. So she's going to show video of basically you take a camera, you look at a boat, it goes away, and then you put the camera slightly off to the side and the boat just reappears, right? She's going to demonstrate that.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she is. No doubt.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No doubt. Especially, I mean, with the consistency we've seen so far, where she mentioned the micro movements taking... compensating for the blind spot and all that, and then putting this image up again, which is accurate, but she's misusing it. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure she'll do that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Ironically enough, our eyes are not on tripods.
I've noticed that. Makes it much easier to walk.
Well, maybe Canatus is. I'm not entirely sure about him all the time.
Don't make me pull out the tripods again.
I was surprised you had no tripod.
I don't want to
music.
know what you do with that extension.
All right. There we go.
That man has a tripod for every occasion.
All right. Here we go.
The horizon is always going to be eye level because your eye is taking the light from up here and the light from down here around the hole in the middle of the eye and smushing it together.
Okay, Drink, how is that affect which is not true, by the way, how is that effect causing the horizon always to be at eye level, which it isn't? But I don't see any connection between the two. She just said that...
Also...
Yes?
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I'm just raving against her
all she's
insanity.
done is
Also, as far as I know, it doesn't really the blind spot doesn't really smush your brain. Just like I said, combined with stuff like rapid eye movement, and it just basically, like she said, kind of best guess stuff. It fills it in, but it doesn't. There's no smushing, as far as I know.
No,
I mean, I'm no optometrist, but I don't think there's much smushing that goes on there. Otherwise, you'd have this constant blurry line in the center of your vision.
No, if I would tend to agree. This is actually the first time I've heard this argument made. I don't know if she cooked it up on her own. She's very very convincing. If she wanted to argue for perception changing, what your brain actually receives, this she shouldn't have gone with. She should have gone a completely different route. Have you guys ever heard of the McGurk effect?
Yep.
You have?
I have no idea what that is.
You can
look it
actually
up, Hillel.
Google it. It's one of the most disconcerting things you ever can realize.
Hill, it's proof. It's absolute proof. Yeah, it's absolute proof that your perceptions cannot be trusted, and that there's an order. There's an order in which evolution has given importance to our various senses, in which vision is primary and hearing is somewhere down the list.
Override your brain. So there's a thing where you're hearing one. I think I can't remember which order it is, but it's like ba, ka, and something like something
there's
else.
two. It's ba and fa.
One sound, but the mouth is saying another sound, and the brain rewires you. If you close your eyes, you'll hear the sound as one thing. The moment you open up your eyes, you'll suddenly start hearing a different thing.
Yeah.
Because the brain overrides and redecides what it is you're hearing. It's an absolutely astonishing effect.
And it is.
Yes, I guess that. Okay.
It is somewhat disconcerting to watch, isn't it? To be shown, and there's no way you can deny it, that your own senses cannot be trusted. That is somewhat disturbing.
Yeah, which still doesn't make the space station go away. And so all of this thing with this cloud bank of irrelevant detail that she puts up, of which a lot of it's actually true. That's another way that a lot of pseudosciences run off on. You find the same thing in some creationist literature, where they can spend a great deal of time citing material that's actually correct. And then later on, they start doing the little side maneuvers where they slide you over off the cliff, and suddenly you're noticing that they've stopped putting footnotes in.
Yes, and when you can tell they're being dishonest about it is when all of the truths are low-level truths that their audience already knows, so that they're prepared after a string of 100.
There's trees, and there's rocks, and there's water, and then let's turn over here and talk about our magic unicorn that we're insisting is the case because of what our text said. And you go, whoa, wait a minute, how did we get there? But she hasn't even finished up her own row because, again, where is NASA? Where is her point?
No NASA, no fake stars, and a flat Earth. So far, you're right, nothing. And she spent a good part of the beginning of the video saying things that were scientifically accurate that indicate that, all right, here we go.
In the middle.
Of her own dogma.
Here we go.
And then that becomes that horizon. But what does this mean for our ability to see things that are very far away? Well, we don't see things well that are very far away.
Now you're going after Mozart.
Especially not if they're small enough that at that distance, they'll end up in the middle of our blind spot. And then the brain doesn't have any information around it to fill that in. If you have Waldo in the middle of your blind spot, then there's no Waldo around Waldo, and so your brain can look at all of what it can see, not Waldo, and try to fill in the blind spot, Waldo. But because it doesn't have Waldo around it, it's not going to fill it with Waldo.
Except for the micro movements of the eye.
We'll just fill it with more non-Waldo.
So I can read Donio.
Sorry, what was that?
RJ here. Yeah, Danielle puts in very correct. Her diagram does not account for the second person looking at the same direction, but being several stories higher, being able to see so much farther than those below, taking the same view line, of course. That's an excellent point, is that she cannot conceptualize the idea of simultaneous observation from different vantage points and how a flat Earth won't accommodate all of that data. But she's always looking at everything through the tunnel vision of just one person's perception, who apparently doesn't have very good vision and blinks a lot.
Indeed. I love when people science at us. Okay. Here we go.
Eyes are constantly moving a little bit left to right, this is a cat, but not so much from up and down. The context cues that the brain can use to build the image, it can use more information from the sides than it can from directly above and directly below. Yes. So
Okay, just making shit up. Okay, look, it's not just me. Frank was freaked out by her actual true statements before, too. It wasn't just me.
how does this help prove that the pictures that we're getting from NASA, from the International Space Station,
woohoo!
are fake? Because
she said two words that are in the title of the video. She said NASA and fake. Okay.
When you look at the pictures from the International Space Station, you can see the stars, little points of light in the sky. Sometimes you see no stars. And people have brought that up as, why can you not see stars? You should be able to see stars. The aperture of the camera, when it's taking a picture...
she may say it.
When it's supposedly taking a picture of the Earth, would have to be such in order to get that level of detail. You'd have to, the aperture would have to be actually quite small in order to get the amount of detail. And so you would expect to get just little starlights. There are some pictures from the International Space...
Okay, she did it again. She did it again. That was accurate. I mean, not necessarily just the aperture, the exposure time as well. But
that's what I was going to say, Drink. I mean, aperture is not the only setting that goes into how a camera takes a picture. There's also shutter speed, ISO, all that other stuff.
Right, but basically what she was saying, although she didn't go into both the aperture and the exposure time, what she was saying was essentially correct as to the lack of stars cannot be an argument for it's not real. So again, she's saying things that are sort of on base, which is just freaky.
Undermining her own argument. She still has to accommodate what she thinks happens. That's always the thing that is missing from these people's argument. That does she think the space station isn't there at all, or that it is there and it's just circling around the flat Earth, and why is it up there, and how can that possibly be, and is that Newton guy really wrong, and all of the dominoes that get knocked over the moment you have to try to figure out what you think happened with the data. Instead, the space station is off the scope, and all she's tunneling vision in on are a series of pictures for which we have no provenance. We don't know how she got them. She don't know where they're from. She don't know what how she's investigated them, as though they meant something context free. And this is just fascinating to see that she thinks she's making a case.
Either that or she's a genius and she has figured out before making each one of these videos what kind of arguments, simplistic though they may be, would sit the best with the flat Earth community. I'm starting to think that's a possibility, because her use of actual truth in this video so far has been, if that was her goal, if she really knows what's going on and has planned all this just to get all the flat earthers on board, then I'd feel a lot better. All right.
What an ambition to get the flat earthers on board. Is this a route to power? I don't know.
Difficult to tell, but all right. Moving on.
Space station.
It's better than Jaren's vid, though, huh?
Stars
having a prefrontal lobotomy is better than that.
And you see them as these little points of light, little points of light. Here, when you look up at the sky, you see stars, little points of light. That's a problem.
Why?
Because the International Space Station is about 240 miles above the surface of the Earth, according to NASA.
Yeah.
if the International Space Station truly is 240 miles above our heads,
Yes.
and it's taking pictures of stars as just little dots of light in the sky, and we're 240 miles beneath, below, then we shouldn't be able to see stars at all.
Okay, non sequitur.
What?
Drink, non
Yes,
sequitur.
let's have a big mega drink, a 6-pack, a positive keg, a veritable distillery at this point. Holy moly!
With the distance.
The illogic of that is so complete flapdoodle. Does anybody, when they go up into the airplane, find that they can't see the stars, or that if you go 300 miles away on the linear Earth, that you suddenly can't see the stars that are off to the side? What the hell does she think you mean? A star that's 25 trillion miles, well, all of them are more than that, trillions of miles away, that suddenly they go out of focus because they're now 200 miles closer to you?
Oh, you add that 200 miles on. You add on 240 miles. That's it. That's the tipping point. That's where all the stars go dark.
She started off. Oh my god! She started off this video talking about scale and about how small the difference is between like peaks and troughs of like mountains on Earth. How does she not get that? That is the exact same thing that happens with the stars.
On a colossal
literally the exact same thing on an even bigger scale.
Indeed, proportionally, it's 240 miles is no distance at all.
Embedded in her argument is the thing that she isn't giving. How far does she think stars are? What does she think they are? How do you measure how far anything is away? Can you do that at all? So there's a whole buried superstructure of, oh gosh, I haven't thought about that, and I'm going to shred by in absentia the last 500 years worth of science. That she is acting as though she had studied that. I categorize all of what's going wrong with her as the map of time problem, that she doesn't tell us what she thinks happened. She's only arguing what she doesn't want to have happen.
Indeed. But you know what else I've noticed? All of the points that any of us have called drink on or had to stop for a comment or anything, we've been very unkind in our stopping points. Have you noticed? We've always stopped
Benno
the video.
Is she about to vomit slugs? And I think that's possible.
We've always stopped this entire second feature. We've always stopped the video on the most unpleasant face a human could make, and that's really not very kind of us to do, is it? All right, moving on.
In the same way that I could show you a period or a freckle, maybe. In the same way, I can show you a freckle, this a little freckle, and you can see my freckle from here.
She just reminds me of the most annoying ex-girlfriends I've ever had.
Oh, my condolences.
Just pale skin. And if I move further and further away from you, there's a point at which you will not be able to see the freckle.
Drink, does your freckle emit light? Just curious. If it doesn't,
yeah, that would be an interesting little issue. And it is it really, really bright? If, for example, if we set you on fire, how far back would we need to be from you for us not to see you screaming and yelling and flames coming up? And we would possibly a little curl of smoke.
All right, everybody, keep an eye out. Yeah, go ahead. What?
That escalated quickly.
Yes, it did. Everybody be on the lookout for the Flaming Red channel coming soon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Flaming Red. Here we go.
Well, she is a redhead.
Yes, indeed. Here we go.
You will see my arm, it's this pale surface, but you won't actually be able to see the freckle. Your eye doesn't have the resolution skills. Just can't. It's just all trying to make up the light bouncing all the information. And so if I were 240
Frank says please do it far, far away.
miles away from you, you also could not see the freckle. In fact, you could not see me standing there. Even if I were on and then all the hours passed while I waited.
What was that little skip there? Did we not did she not just jump over a paragraph or two?
Hard to say, but one thing she has just done, she has not shown that the Earth is flat. She's shown that the universe doesn't exist, or think it does.
Okay.
She's suddenly skipped a category here without quite realizing it, and so she's not only shredding the last 500 years of science, she's shredding the last 3,000 years of science.
Yeah, you must admit though that is an impressive feat.
It is.
And to do that from that Bordello red bedspread is just an amazing accomplishment.
Indeed. And look, finally, we stopped the video on a non-embarrassing face. That's
sure.
That was kind of it. She's just sort of
Yeah,
smiling.
we're not sure about that.
All right. Well, at least the rocket's not in this video.
Well,
okay.
Let me just. Okay, I'm gonna try to help her with understanding this whole thing about stars. Okay, so you brought up your freckle. Okay, cool. So let's say I'm one room's length away from you, and from there I can just barely see your freckle, and then I step back 1 centimeter. I'm probably still going to be able to see it because I haven't moved much. Even though, it's for an ant or something that might be a huge distance, but compared to the actual distance between the observer and the freckle, it's actually a very small distance. And that is comparable to what is happening with the stars and the ISS and us on the ground.
Guys, I think
it's not a very big difference. It's a very small difference.
Important question that we have to answer is that a futon she's sitting on?
Big question.
Yeah, I thought it was a futon. I thought that might be an appropriate thing, because if you're going to try to eliminate the entire universe from your bedroom, it should be on a futon. I think it's in the operating manual, the one that they were looking at in the red light on Jaren's video.
Indeed. And Tim, look, Tim dropped out. Tim's in the comments now. All right. Hey, Tim. You can come back if you want, but anyway, here we go.
For my card to download to my computer, and my battery to load, multiple batteries to charge. Now I have no idea where I was. Something about a freckle. Some people have tried to say that because the stars are emitting photons, this is why we can still see them. But
yes. See
well,
again.
If they weren't emitting.
Again, that's true.
If they're not emitting photons or reflecting photons, we can't see it.
Indeed, but again, she's injecting reality into her insanity here. It's disconcerting, is what I'm saying.
Well, based on her tone, I'm guessing she's gonna somehow say that no, it's somehow the idea that stars, that things that we can see have something to do with photons is somehow ridiculous.
Maybe so. Or she may go back to that blind spot thing, completely ignoring her own statement about the eye movement that compensates for that. Here we go.
There's a problem with that theory that
Yes.
people just sometimes claim as truth. And the problem with that theory is, well, there are two. So people often give the analogy, in the same way that you can see a laser pointer from really far away, you can still see starlight because the photons are just rushing towards you through the vacuum of space, through the atmosphere, all this light scattering atmospheric effects. This is why stars sparkle. And then into your eye. But a laser beam, the reason that you can see laser light from a far distance is because of what lasers are, and this is why lasers are different from flashlights. Because laser light is coherent light, and so all the photons are
heard a call for drink.
Jump in here on that drink.
Okay, the only difference between a really real difference between a laser and just a light is that the laser light is just, like you said, it's focused. Fine, it's maybe laser isn't the best analogy, but just what's wrong with just a light bulb for an analogy? Light bulbs emit photons. What? Also, she's playing Hall of the Mountain King in the background now.
Yeah, she's going after Krieg again. I told you, go after my Norway guy.
Again, I'm going to go back and say that photons don't matter. It's futons that matter.
But there's a problem with this playing the Hall of the Mountain King in the background. It's giving the impression that it's leading up to some kind of point, and that's not good.
Unlikely for her, yeah, to do. Here's another little thing is perhaps we should start with one of the stars that we can observe fairly closely, which is that big ball of fire in the sky called the sun. And that one is really, 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 really bright so that you can't even look at the bloody thing without getting into a problem. And I would recommend she try to do that sometime and see what the effect might be. So what would be the effect of seeing one of those things from like really far away? And how far away do the little balls of light need to be for them to appear to be the way they are? And remember, we have a thing called a spectroscope, which can tell us the exact constituencies of all of that stuff too. Or is that more of that science-y material that you didn't find out because it wasn't written on the backside of that Frisbee on your wall?
All right. And on that note, let us
He's
continue.
going to turn into a little, I think she's about to do a hoppy skippy here where she's turning into a little bunny rabbit. Isn't that sweet?
Oh, look, she's doing the bunny hop thing. You're right.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god.
Although, look at the look at the distortion. It's like in that, what the hell was that movie? Final Destination.
Yeah, that's clearly because she is not really real. She is a digital effect caused by one of those Nikon cameras.
Are you saying she's CGI? Disinformation.
Yeah, that would account for a lot, wouldn't it?
It was only.
No, it's just your blind spot.
It's a blind spot. That's what it is. All right.
Yeah, we were getting nothing but blind spots in the Jaren tape, so we've got a few less this time.
Here we go.
And all sharing the same phase, they're all kind of moving together. And so then, because they're all moving together in this one unified way, rather than having different polarization, directions, and
she's accurately describing laser light now. The fact that
which is
the waves are all,
so is it?
But she's accurately describing it.
You cannot actually see the sun because it is not coherent laser light. Is that what she's leading up to? I doubt it.
Maybe, but don't you think it's a little spooky that she's describing the light from a laser accurately? Again,
Yeah, well, remember, she can read a National Geographic or a Scientific American article just as well as anybody else.
But the problem is here, she thinks she's debunking the idea that stars emit light, where she's just, at best, she's saying this isn't a great analogy.
Laser light. Well, it's much better than a laser light because it's got gamma rays and all sorts of other stuff in there that's way more powerful than a laser beam, which is why we can see it just as we can see the big sunball, even though it's not a laser.
I just realized she's trying to debunk the idea that stars emit light. I just realized that.
You think that's...
It sounds like she's going that direction, so why can we see them at all? Or if she wants to argue that they're little teeny light bulbs on a firmament somewhere, how far are they away? What are they? Why do they have the properties that we do?
No, she's not even debunking that. She's trying to debunk the idea that we can see stars because they emit photons.
Yeah, without defining what she thinks a star is. So what we've got is a perpetual coming attractions that are embedded inside of her argument that she doesn't realize are there, that blow her argument to smithereens because she's just cycling around the drain of the little pictures she's got off of Wikipedia.
All right. Yeah, we're making pretty good progress here. All right, here we go.
She basically gets as much of physics right as a parakeet would. I'll agree that, Fino.
Oh, look, there's Jonathan. All right, here we go.
Be slightly different altitudes because of the different frequencies of light. Because they're all the same, then they are less scattered. Laser light is very different from starlight because starlight, it's being emitted according to the model that science, the common sense, the model that we're taught. Starlight is going to be emitted at different frequencies, at different spectrum of light, and it's going to go through galactic dust and all kinds of obstacles and just gravitational lensing around galaxies, all kinds of things between the star and your eye. We're taught that sunlight, when it hits our atmosphere, it is deflected in so many ways.
Okay, RJ, are you trying to call drink, perhaps?
Yeah, boy because she actually has tripped over something that's really spectacular.
Okay.
And that is the idea that photons don't move at the speed of light, and unless there's something to absorb them, will move forever. Nothing will prevent them from reaching your eyeball unless it's absorbed by something. And if it is lensed or runs through a cloud of some sort, we can measure, not guess, we can measure what it will have an effect upon its spectrum. We can tell if its original source was moving away from us or not because of that Doppler effect. It can be measured out to so many decimal places that it would be able to put inside of that brain of yours and have room left over for the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Is scattered light, and so that's why we see the sky as blue, because blue light is the most easily scattered. And so when the light is just scattered all around by all the little molecules, these atoms in our atmosphere, it's ozone and oxygen and nitrogen and carbon dioxide, and then all the...
Oh, what was it?
RJ here. Sub-Zero makes an actually very good point. Orphan Red is like a sickeningly happy version of Karl Baugh, but with flat Earth instead of young Earth creationism. Yeah, methodologically, they are not dissimilar. They've got somebody that has a preconceived dogma that will then wander around in a very pleasant or not way, absolutely convinced that what's coming out of their mouth makes sense, but unaware of the fact that, nope, that they are nowhere near reality. Karl Baugh, he's on the fringe of young Earth creationism. He's one of these guys that's still pushing the Paluxy River tracks. He's kind of in the Kent Hovind branch of creationism, as opposed to the air quotes mainstream that you find at Ken Ham's Answers in Genesis.
I've been considering them all fringe, but I guess you're right. There are degrees of fringe.
There's a pecking order. There is a pecking order. Karl Baugh is one of those diploma mill nincompoops. He's not one of those ones that actually have real live degrees that for their nincompoopery.
Very good. All righty. And here we go yet again.
Dust and all the pollution and the water vapor. And so when our sunlight goes through all of that, it gets all scattered. And so the effect is this blue sky. And then we see the sun as more yellow, orangey, red, because the closer to red you get, the less easily scattered that light is. And then it's all of the science is just breaking down all.
That was a very scientific description she just gave. It didn't mention anything about the energy levels.
In my niece's Montessori class are more coherent than this girl is.
Nothing to say about energy levels of different frequency of light. Nothing to say about levels of refraction that occur.
Woo.
Well, that covered it. Woo! And think of how much more concise it is than mentioning all that crap I just said. She was. You know what?
Newton spent all of his time looking at prisms and measuring shit and working out, inventing calculus when all he needed to do was go woo.
That's.
Are you saying all we needed was some good woo in our life?
Yeah,
so it would seem.
I think she's had way too much woo in her life.
Yes, the woo is strong in this one. Here we go.
Around us. This is probably why Neil deGrasse Tyson is throwing microphones on the ground and smashing all the things. Just all lost.
Don't even try.
From 247.
So I said, what has struck you as insanely funny?
Oh, yeah, don't even try to make sense about what she just said at that point. It was just this little weird burp word salad spitting out where there are no longer even connected in nouns, verbs, and direct objects for a while. It's like this little BB rolling around in the head, and it finally will get back into the trough, and then she'll get back to the National Geographic pictures.
That was a nice image. And it's off at a track, and it's bumping into different word triggers.
Yeah, like pinball.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a pachinko machine. It's in free fall.
Every impact is a word. Okay, here we go.
Miles away, you see it as a dot of light. Then you shouldn't be able to see it
So
from here.
So what's her argument? We see it. What is she saying?
You keep on
We see it as
insisting
a-
you can, but you don't
Hold on.
show that you can't.
Did she say we see it as a dot of light, but you can't see it?
Right. She's saying if it's just a point of light, you shouldn't be able to see it, but we can see it. I mean, I saw some tonight, as a matter of fact.
The hilarious thing is that if she had ever paid the slightest attention to the last 2,500 years of astronomy, she would have learned about that cute little parallax trick. Because the Earth is not actually flat and it's orbiting the sun, we get to move the Earth 180 million miles across its orbit every single effing year. And that allows us to be able to measure the parallax to close stars with remarkable accuracy using those, what is the word, big telescopes. This was the case centuries ago that they could. It was in the 19th century where they were being able to measure the parallax, which is the parallax. Arc parsec is a parallax of 1 second of arc that you can now use as a protractor to determine how far away stars are. And she apparently doesn't know that. And you can build up a picture bit by bit by bit. And it's already been done. It's a been there, done that thing. That there's no, she seems totally unaware of any of that stuff. And the fact that she never mentions anything at all about what stars actually are in her weird little world, how far they are away, are they doing something? How do they make light at all? Does she not believe in thermonuclear fusion? Does she want to repeal the last 100 years worth of physics as well? What is it she thinks happens? I don't know, because I don't think she knows what she thinks happens.
Well, they've never said.
Flat Earth is basically a giant merry-go-round of been there, done that. I mean, people. I mean, even Ptolemy back in 150, he knew the Earth was round. So, I mean, sure, he thought the universe was geocentric, but I mean,
it was the only way to account for all the observations they could do. It was not an easy trick to figure out heliocentrism. And in fact, that until you had way more accurate telescopes, it was kind of difficult to do that. Because the observational skills you had, you could see the relative motions of things. The one thing they did have a lot of problem with, of course, was things like the retrograde movement of Mars and that sort of thing, which always go, why is it? What's going on here? And even somebody down in the last ditch efforts, if you're familiar with that silver-nosed psychopath Tycho de Brahe, that he managed to come up with a entirely workable heliocentric system that had some things were orbiting around other stuff, but still had are geocentric, that had the Earth as the center. But of course, what you were never going to be able to get out of that was gravitational theory, because unless you recognize that it was a little itty bitty Earth orbiting a great big gigantic sun, that you were never going to be able to realize why masses move the way they do, why the moon is falling around the Earth perpetually because of gravitation. And so you eventually reach the stage where you can predict things about the solar system and predict entirely new planets. So if the Earth is flat, and presumably heliocentrism is wrong, and gravitation doesn't work, how come the astronomers were able to predict planets, whole new planets, with extreme accuracy again and again and again, if the model was so wrong?
Indeed, the results would tend to indicate that the model is, in fact, accurate. Oh, and we must interject here. Fino, you are quite right. NA, plus 100 internet points for you. There we go. Moving on.
If from the International Space Station, stars were, I don't know, saucer sizes, dinner plate size, bigger.
Like frisbees, you mean?
Yeah,
and then from here, then we would see them as points of light in the sky. Then that would make more sense.
No.
It kind of,
no,
not
really.
no, but kind of.
Okay, all right.
Oh, big drink here, RJ. Gosh, here. Her wonderful use of that magical if if they were the size of teacups, or if stars were the size of pie plates, or if stars were made of cucumbers, or if stars were actually pieces of peanut brittle. You can play the what if game anywhere, but the problem is we have observations, and I repeat, those cute little spectroscopes that we can actually use to measure what's inside of stars, and we can do that with a great accuracy to the point where we now actually can send probes out. We can do it with objects that aren't bright like comets or anything else, and we can physically pick up samples of them, which we have done in those satellites, which I'm sure you don't think are actually out there either, and everybody continues to move on in the science. The thing that's so pathetic about the whole flat earthers, that they believe something that is gobsmackingly cranial blockage of the rectum wrong, but because it is so stultifying to any imagination whatsoever. It's worse than wrong. It's uselessly wrong. It's brain-deadeningly wrong. And the thing that civilizations that have made progress have not followed the kinds of people that are on that screen.
Okay, RJ, I have to thank you for a first. It's a first for me. Your amazing non sequitur of that I was just not expecting. Stars being made of cucumbers caused the first ever beer out the nose moment. So I would like to thank you for that. Many
well,
people.
once you go into the pathological if mode, why not bring in cucumbers and anything else? I mean, why leave everything else? She wants to bring in freckles. Let's broaden the range here.
Other folks.
In part, I was channeling the old thing because you have to remember the old Jonathan Swift tale, where one of the weird bunches that he was parodying in there were people who thought that they could make I can't remember whether they were making sunbeams from cucumbers or cucumbers from sunbeams, one or the other. But anyway, it was that exactly that silly kind of an analogy. And so we need a little more Jonathan Swift in our world.
It was just perfectly timed, and this, like I said, this was a first. There have been many coffee out the nose moments from people on Twitter, people in previous hangouts in the comments section, but you have the honor of causing the first beer out the nose moment, and for that, 1,000 internet points awarded. So, moving on.
But the fact that they're seen as just little dots from the ISS, it suggests that that we shouldn't see them.
Why not?
Yeah, and she never explains it. But
her so much right now.
She's dug her little tiny trench, and she's climbed down in it, and she's decided that it's actually the Grand Canyon, that she's actually made her case. This is astonishing.
Well, she's done the thing that a lot of flat earthers do. She says reality should act this certain way. It doesn't. Therefore, it's not real. So
indeed.
Do that.
They don't even give any justification of why reality should act the way she thinks it does.
Yeah, and you'll notice that it's correct to say that she presented evidence for her position. It was utterly irrelevant evidence. It was evidence that was actually inadvertently true, but it doesn't actually make her case. So what you always are looking for, this is like watching a 3-card money game or a magic trick. You have to watch at the point where suddenly they're pulling the fast one, but they don't perceive it as a fast one. They're basically doing the sudden jump across the bridge that they didn't think to build.
All right. And RJ, I have to ask, what did you do to your internet connection? You have not been roboting once this entire hangout. How did you improve your internet connection?
I did nothing with it. Absolutely nothing. Maybe it's just the gods waiting, and they'll drop an anvil on me.
Well, I wonder if it has anything to do with us switching to G Suite. This Hangouts is done through G Suite. We're doing that in preparation for if we ever have any guests from the opposition.
It could be. I have done absolutely nothing different from my end.
Must be that. Now, the downside is there seem to be a few hiccups with Hangouts in G Suite problems we did not have when we were using the free version. So that may be it, but you have not roboted once. I like it. Okay.
How much longer do we have in this video?
We've got 6 minutes.
Oh, Fino says, but I must say, as a security system, laser-armed cucumbers are vastly worse than the common sharks.
So cucumbers with freaking laser beams. That's what we need. Okay.
Yeah, you got to watch out, because if those cucumbers turn on you, they are dangerous, man.
All right. Yeah, we're going to have to come to a conclusion whether to stick with
laser-guided cucumber missile.
The only reason we switched to G Suite is because if we ever wanted to have a flat Earth, there was talk of having a flat Earth proponent or a young Earth creationist on the show to have a conversation with us, and this was the only way that if things got nuts, if they just started screaming obscenities and that was it, that we could boot them, because in the regular Hangouts we cannot. So we're gonna have to decide before next week whether we're gonna stick with this or go back to the regular Hangouts. So anyway, keep that in mind. That question will come up over this next week. Moving on.
How far away can the human eye see?
Okay, that's a bullshit question. It has nothing to do. The eye does not have a range. It's if the light from whatever the source is can reach. Ah, shit! I didn't call drink. Drink.
Even Arabic scientists from 1,000 years ago would have known that about optics. So she is far behind the entire world's science, let alone the little teeny snippets that she may or may not have seen in her Scientific American reading.
I've heard other flat earthers make the same assertion that that vision, there's a range that our eyes have, and we can't see past that range. Which bullshit. If light reaches our eyes from whatever distance, we see it. So
and amazing. One of the
the only real limitation in our eyes is resolution.
Indeed.
Yeah, and of course, we move beyond the spectrum. We've got radio telescopes. We have all that extra bit. One of the most gobsmacking things I ever heard was from Arthur C. Clarke, who said that he had heard from a radio astronomer, and this was back in the 60s, that if you added up all of the energy from all of the radio telescopes and how much energy had been perceived up to that point, it was roughly equivalent to the impact of a single snowflake. Dealing with incredibly tiny amounts of energy, but it still contains huge amounts of information, as opposed to flat Earth videos, which are chock-a-block with things, but have negative information content.
Okay. We're closing in on it. 6 minutes left. Here we go.
Okay.
Well, we can't see the boat past the vanishing point of our vision. And so when we take our...
Okay, right. We can't... Back to the boat. And notice how the vanishing point of our vision... Non-existent. The vanishing point of our vision, it seems the bottom of the boat must be way farther away than the top. So when boats go out away from us, apparently the bottoms move faster because the bottom moves beyond our range of vision faster than the top.
Well, and if you gain altitude, your vanishing point magically becomes further away because reasons.
The reasons, absolutely.
Yeah, and as everybody knows who's never been on a boat, that if you try to look at if you climb up on the mizzen mast and you look down to the people down in the hold, they're skewed off in an angle, and they can be like miles away because to that vanishing point. This is common knowledge, isn't it?
Indeed. It's funny how funny you mentioned climbing the mast, because it's funny how none of the flat earthers or on the science side has actually made observations from the opposite point, from a ship when the land disappears, and then climb the mast and go, hey, look at that land.
They forget about that context. It's very tunnel vision-y. Everything is from one perspective only, and they forget the fact that it's possible theoretically to make multiple observations from different points of view. And when you do that, you start triangulating. And if you start triangulating enough, you can discover the world is not flat.
Indeed. All right, I had some wise-ass comment to make, but I was looking at the comments and forgot it. So we'll just pretend I said something funny and chuckle. Hey, thanks all. All right. I think that's what you guys do when I'm actually thinking I'm saying something funny. Okay, here we
we have it on an app.
the Laugh at Sigh app. All right, here we go.
Put on this as a soundboard.
Zoom lens and we zoom in, the boat reappears.
Absolute lie. Drink, absolute lie.
Therefore,
Yeah, why
it's
doesn't
still
she
in our line
show
of
us an
sight.
example?
Oh, geez, I botched it twice. Drink, this is sigh. Absolute lie. There, now I got it correct. 3 times, but I got it correct that time.
But it's beyond our vanishing point. That suggests that our vanishing point is not that far. So, if
No, it
the
doesn't.
vanishing point,
No, it doesn't. You're right.
the false horizon, is not that far when I'm looking straight ahead of me, then when I look up,
And her little pea brain is rolling around again. It hasn't quite got in the trough again until she can figure out what next she needs to repeat.
my vanishing point be at the same distance?
Huh?
So if a very large ship sailing away towards the sunset disappears at a certain point, then shouldn't a boat-sized object above me then also disappear at that same distance? And if from 300 miles away from me something appears as a dot,
Oh, drink.
should I
Okay.
Oh dear, RJ
Oh,
here.
that's
This
a perfect freeze frame.
in her head, is she actually imagining little boat-sized objects capable of floating in the air like balloons, like Hindenburgs, and maybe up 500 miles or however high it is she thinks the stars are? And are they bigger than a boat-sized object, or are they as small as a bread box? Just how far are the stars, dear? All of that. I wonder what is her cognitive landscape of the world that she lives in. It's like the room that she's in with the walls blown out and little blips and blobs of things kind of floating vaguely in her peripheral vision, and that's the universe to her. That it's not connected to any detailed observations, it's not connected to actual looking at things and spectrums and all the rest, even though she can't possibly not have bumped into that stuff in the works that she's culled all of her stupid little pictures from.
Indeed.
Also, I have a different drink.
Oh, please do. Go
You
ahead.
mentioned how at a certain distance the boat just disappears. No, it does not just disappear. It sinks, or at least appears to sink. It doesn't just disappear. It doesn't slowly become invisible bottom up. It goes down in space. And it doesn't just vanish. It goes away from you and down.
That's CGI.
Yeah,
the Earth.
This same issue in reverse came up with the flat earthers of the 1850s that Alfred Wallace bumped into and a few others, and involved lighthouses. The Earth being flat, and they would offer some evidence that a particular lighthouse was theoretically capable of being seen a little farther out to sea than supposedly was the case, and it all depended on whether or not they'd gotten the exact measurement correct of the promontory, and they've made a little minor adjustment on something. It's all sorts of errors could creep in. But one of these pro-spherical Earth people correctly noted, if the world were flat, you should be able to see every lighthouse much farther out to sea than supposedly was the case in reality. Not just an occasional anomalous circumstance, but every single one of them. So they didn't even follow through on the logic of their own position. Now, those 1850s flat earthers are operating at a way more sophisticated level than she is in the 21st century, because she never even comes close to telling us what the hell she thinks is happening. Where is stuff? How big is stuff? How far away is it really? Not how close she thinks it isn't.
Indeed. All right. Okay, now there's only 5 minutes left. We've made it a whole minute. Let's see how far we get before the next call for drink, shall we?
Still be able to see it from here? We can't see the International Space Station with the naked eye. This is too far, this itty bitty.
Okay, I maybe, you know what, let's give it to her. Maybe she's saying that we can't see it with any degree of resolution to where we can identify it as the ISS. We can't see
You
that.
should tell Jeranism from, what was it, 3 weeks ago with his lightsaber.
Indeed.
Yeah, but is the space station appearing the same size as her freckle?
I don't know, it depends on if there are clouds.
If there are clouds, yes, and we have not yet determined if the freckle emits light. So there's a lot of variables.
Well, if it does it emit light like
I
a
think it
light bulb
probably
or like a
emits
laser?
positron for her.
Good point, Hill. Is it coherent light or is it?
No, nothing is
okay.
coherent from her.
I knew I gave that.
That's a straight line. That's a straight line. I'm not going to pass up.
Great. So I'm Bud Abbott in this case. Great. Okay. Here we go.
You cannot resolve it.
Oh, by the way, that was 30 seconds. 30 seconds for the next call for drink.
People are using their zoom lenses of 83 times magnification to take pictures of what appears to be this fuzzy hologram. The point.
Hologram. What the hell was that? What?
What?
Where'd that come from? Okay. You see, RJ, this is one of those cases where we're calling drink, but we're not exactly sure why.
Well, it's because she suddenly drops a buzzword, hologram. Does she think there's like a big laser projector up above the flat Earth where maybe this thing is being projected? And if so, how can you see this? And where is the projector? She's suddenly dropping a word that doesn't have any meaning in this song. She's not even using it as holographic as an adjective. She's talking about a hologram, like the stuff that you would see on the front end of Razzle Dazzle magazines where they want to get your attention. No, the space station can't be a hologram any more than your Frisbee on the wall can be a hologram.
Indeed. You don't. Okay, since she's dropped the hologram, do you think she's going to go into the lunar? You don't think she's going to mention the lunar wave later on?
Oh, nothing would surprise me about her.
I don't know. I don't know if she's gone that far because that. Well, all right. Well, let's see. We've got 4 minutes left. Here we go.
Being that when you ask, if you ask just general common sense-ish community, how far...
That's us, by the way, the common sense-ish community.
The general common sense-ish community.
I guess.
Yeah, we have it on our business card.
Indeed.
Where can the eye see? There aren't a lot of good answers. People will say, we can see billions of years, because when we look up at the night sky and we see these stars and they're billions of light years away, therefore we can see billions of light years. And that worked as that may have worked as an explanation to give people. When you were telling them that the boat is no longer visible at the horizon line because it's gone beyond the curvature of the Earth.
The curvature.
But now when we have the technology to demonstrate for ourselves that the boat has not gone over the curvature.
Okay.
Oh, RJ here, of all the people on Earth who has no right to use now we have the technology, is the person who has never used a full telescope, who has never attempted to do the video experiment that she is presuming to be the case, who has never paid the slightest attention to any of those instruments, and functionally is libeling and disparaging all the thousands of scientists who actually do use the instruments and the technology technology and the cameras and to get their stupid focus in order. So of all people on earth, never, 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 never use that kind of a term, because you are not somebody who pays any attention at all to the instruments or the science or the technology. Oh, I have to get off my soapbox now because steam is coming out of my ears.
All right, let's take a brief recovery period. And I don't know, how many mugs of truth? I mean, you guys have seen the mug of truth. How many mugs of truth do you think would equal alcohol poisoning? Like 4, maybe 4 or 5, something like that. Because it's you guys have been calling him pretty frequently here. We're at 3.
Ooh. Frank has got, oh, come on, man. She did the salad bowl experiment. Obviously, she's qualified.
Oh, yep, that is true. We even had that on the show.
Yeah, I defer to the salad bar.
Absolutely. She's the holder of the bowl. We must all bow to her wisdom. Okay, 3 minutes, folks. Let's see if we can have less than 36 calls for drink.
Of the Earth, that the boat is clearly in our line of sight. We just have a vanishing point beyond which we can't see.
And only the bottom vanishes, because as we stated earlier, the bottom of the boat goes zipping away a lot faster than the top.
Keeps repeating the thing she wants to be true as though it's true, and in her little tiny brain, it's completely true, along with the cucumbers.
Oh, we're going to have to keep an eye on this one, because like I said earlier, she may not have a little tiny brain, because one, there seems to be evidence for that. One, she has recounted some pretty accurate things in her monologue.
You know, Carl Baugh can do that too. You can find examples of these things, and Dwayne Gish was perfect. He was what I call a detail fiddler. She's operating at kind of a rudimentary level, but remember, when she is bringing up details, it's stuff that she's like memorized to get a sense of what it is. She doesn't realize that it doesn't connect with her point, and we notice that it doesn't connect with her point. So all we have here is kind of a Rain Man style tunnel vision, not somebody who is necessarily meticulously information as the way to gull the audience into believing that the world is flat. I'm being charitable here. I think she actually believes this stuff, and she's not being craven.
It could be that. You know, we're gonna have to look at some more of these, not necessarily on Hangouts, but some on Hangouts, no doubt. Because the other thing is, from watching her, I don't get the impression that she's got a list of bullet points in front of her.
Because she suddenly will get into this very word salad confusion part. In some cases, she will forget where she is in kind of her self-memorized script, where she suddenly and has to bring it up again. But sometimes it gets really clunky, the transition points. So she has a bit of a spiel, but remember, it's an awful lot of repetition in the spiel. That is she's true. Only got about 5 minutes of content that's simply repeated trope over multiple times to pad out the 20 minutes.
I'm sorry, which flat earther are you talking about
now? Any of them?
Okay, I was just making sure. All right.
Yeah, it's a one size fits all. It's kind of like the moo of science.
Ah, crap. Look up. Kevin's asleep. Oh no, there, movement. Cool. Here we go.
Then it becomes nonsensical to say that our vision is limitless. Are stars like lasers? Demonstrably not. By the very fact that the sky is blue and we see the sun as yellowy orange, that clearly demonstrates that stars don't...
Drake moment. She just admitted that she is aware that stars and the sun are the same thing. Flat earthers in general insist that the stars are something completely different. I love when they take extremely out of focus telephoto shots of stars so they blow up and appear to be disks and all the distortion is visible. But she just indicated that stars and the sun, unless she says something in the next couple of seconds, she just admitted that stars and the sun are the same thing.
He may very well indeed think that in a kind of a vague, brain-dead sort of way. The question is, would she ever connect up those dots? All you have in her little worldview are a series of very isolated, never connect up anything to anything else bit. So she may very well believe that stars are kind of big lights that are kind of like the sun, but maybe farther away. But remember, has she ever suggested where anything is relative to anything else? So if her worldview never gets to that stage, all she's going to do is to take pictures of eyeballs and thinking about ships going out to sea and everything by the material that she's channeled off of other people's videos. She's never going to put together a worldview of her own to where she actually works out what stuff is. And in that case, yeah, she may very well think that. I don't think she's ever going to get to the point where she's going to be talking about stellar spectrum to make much of a difference.
You may be right. Although she's got 3 minutes to do so. Shall we see if she does?
Yeah, she could just sneak it in. Remember, she sped up early in the show. She might do that again.
Indeed. Here we go.
Don't put out light like a laser beam, that it's not all at one frequency, just wave. You get white light from the sun.
Hey, Pink Floyd.
You pass it through the prism, and then you can see all the different rainbow colors, because that
Rainbows? Alright, no, I won't bring back the unicorns.
white light, that sunlight, has the various light frequencies that make it up. So it's obviously not in any way like laser light. Stars are not lasers.
What was it?
Why a sudden flashback to Neil deGrasse Tyson on an acid trip? What is going on here?
What, is there some connection between Neil deGrasse Tyson and lasers that I don't know about?
I don't know, but apparently in her little pea brain there is some reason why that image suddenly wanted to come up into her mind. This is a Rorschach blot of weird associations in her head.
Hey, RJ, I'm not sure, but again, I have to ask you, much like I asked Kevin earlier, are you asserting that Orphan Red, I hesitate to even ask this because it could not possibly be the case, are you asserting that Orphan Red is not both a scientist and a genius? Is that what you're asserting?
I know. Yeah, I know. It's a thing that I am so loath to contemplate. It completely undermines all of my world anywhere, where I was falsely believing in those false geniuses like Einstein and Newton and all of those people who do the work, but to realize that the true genius of the world in her basement bedroom or wherever she is, who has collected frisbees and wonderful little stick-ons to go on the wall, and that she alone has been able to perceive these wonderful things. My poor little brain shudders at the prospect, and I have to shy away from terror at the truth of it. Yes, you have caught me out. You have caught me outside.
Absolutely. That's crazy talk. All right.
Yeah. You think I got enough irony dripping on that one? I'm going to have to clean it with a trowel.
I sort of got that impression. All right. We're 2 minutes. We're at the 2-minute mark. Here we go.
Also, our atmosphere is full of things, obstacles for starlight to go through the atmosphere.
Yeah, little pearls and brickbats and floating unicorns. There's all sorts of things in the atmosphere.
Indeed.
In fact, and still present this little point of light.
Okay, a point of light that happens to flicker due to atmospheric distortion. The point you just made is in fact valid, and it does have an effect. And
has she ever brought up, or for that matter, has any flat earther who dithers on about stellar issues ever discussed supernova?
I don't recall it being mentioned. We'll have to take a look.
Yeah, because we've got these little areas where these little stars will go into like frizzle mode called a supernova, and they suddenly become really, 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 really bright. so bright that they can be seen in the daylight at times. And we have actual historical records of them, like the Crab Nebula is a spot that went through a big supernova. And the problem is that we can look at them and look at the records in the astronomy, and we can look at them through those spectroscopes in that science and technology stuff that she doesn't get down in her bedroom, to where we can see what was going on it. So there's a whole world of astrophysics out there that's laying on her cutting room floor that she doesn't know she has to get rid of too, in addition to the stupid bits about the ships going over the horizon.
Indeed. Alrighty. Okay, we made it.
Supernova is when the cucumber fixture blows up, according to Fino. Yep, you got it nailed. See, once you understand the universe as a form of cucumberism, everything becomes clear.
It does sort of make sense in that light. You're quite correct.
Yeah, why do you think every grocery store has cucumbers, eh?
Okay, checkmate. You're right. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Here we go. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, folks. You've almost survived the foolishness.
That looks identical to the points of light that we see in the ISS videos. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't seem to make sense. So if you can help me.
Argument from incredulity.
In a kind of
respectful manner. There's no thing that we can do to help you. You have gone at Tortucanosity. There is no cure. We don't even have a telethon for it yet.
Figure out how we can establish where our vanishing point is and how far we actually can see and why we can see the stars above but not the ship in front of us. Then please leave a comment below and we can have a little conversation in the comments section if it's respectful and friendly
stern look
and helpful and not just nonsense science says that isn't actually supported by strong logic.
Had a dozen fake strokes.
What was that?
Thanos said Frank had a dozen fake strokes. Yeah, I can understand that.
Proof, critical thinking skills. If you like this video, please consider sharing and subscribing. Maybe giving it a thumbs up, just for liking.
Does she have any clue that the music she puts behind herself makes her sound like a fucking joke?
And have you considered that without the music, she would sound like a fucking joke? Have you?
Yes, it would be a musicless fucking. At least you can listen to Grieg and a little bit of Ponchielli and a few other ones around there to kind of fill in the gap as your brain is leaking pus thinking about all this stupid stuff that she's saying.
Well, look, to her credit, compared to the first feature in our double feature, this is
Citizen Kane.
This was a beautiful video, beautifully made, filled with relevant content compared to the first in our double.
Lit. You get to see bright, bold colors. You get to see her cleavage, which is more than we can say. Well, actually, I'm not sure we want to see Jeno's cleavage. Jaren's cleavage.
Indeed. But yes, I would say this was all just excellent. Now, on to the last 30 seconds where she will... I don't know what she'll do. Let's see.
I don't know why. We shouldn't be discouraged from asking these questions.
Indeed.
We should be encouraged to try to think about the world that we live in and to try to think about the science that we're taught.
Can't disagree with any of that. We should think about it all.
And you should try it sometime. Practice what you preach, dear lady.
Indeed. And there's lots of experiments the average person can do to verify a lot of the stuff she is railing against.
Hard to do in her bedroom, though.
Reevaluate. Does this work with new findings? Does this work with new understandings and new contexts and perspectives? And so, what's the meaning of the flat Earth? Good night.
That was it? Okay, she asked the question and then said good night. Gotcha. Okay. Well, now it all makes sense.
Yeah, it's so clear.
All right.
Even Hawking is rolling up any minute now and saying, yep, he's going to throw all of his old physics out and adopt cucumberism.
All righty. Well,
Daddy gonna make it better right now. Daddy gonna make it better.
And I realize now,
We got
aside
Don
from Clint
Rickles.
Eastwood, I'm the biggest name here.
I kid around about people. I got a reputation. Ricardo
Donnie.
Montalban, a good friend. You know this. I got a reputation of being, like Newsweek said, the merchant of venom, destroys stars. You people in the back, this is not true. I love people, really. Ricardo, why do I kid you? Why? Because I don't like you.
Tell you out there, America, our governor is dumb. Dean Martin said to me when Governor Reagan or Regan, whatever they call you, I don't care.
The great Don Rickles.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great
He's gone.
Absolutely.
And he had the wonderful thing. He had a full life, and he was active almost literally up to the end. And that's something that everybody could hope for, that he didn't have a long Alzheimer's thing. He didn't have a long debilitating illness. If you look at people like Terry Garr or others who have had terrible illnesses and things that have taken her off the scheme of things, it's a wonderful thing to go as long as he had, and right up to the very last minute, boom,
You forgot Donald Trump. The Alzheimer's is really kicking in there.
Yeah, he came prepackaged on that one. I love the fact that he walks out of his signing ceremonies without signing them, and the vice president has to suddenly run after him. This is a Monty Python sketch with nuclear weapons. Whoa.
Has everyone seen the accordion video of Donald Trump?
Yep, I have.
That's I do not have that queued up, but I would strongly recommend. Just search for just put in Donald Trump accordion, you'll get it. It's hilarious. Anyway, all right. Well, that's it for our two features for tonight. Which, 3 hours.
How the time flies when you're having fun.
Indeed.
Jaron himself just really set it off with such a wonderful display of ill-focused black moss at the beginning.
Indeed. All right. Well, that would be it for our fabulous double feature for tonight. And for both of them, I apologize to you all for having to sit through those. And I have. All right. I don't know. Have you guys seen the cartoon Strike Dude? No? Okay. Kevin thinks the cartoon Strike Dude is boring, so we'll skip that. Not a problem. All right. It's only 3 of us still hanging. We should blow through the shameless plugs pretty quick. Let's get on with that. All right, Kevin, tell us how freaking wonderful you are and why we should all do what you say we should do.
I'm so fucking cool, you guys. I'm like the coolest guy you ever knew. Like, you all wish you could be my friends, but you're not, because you're not cool enough to hang with me. And I just shit all over everybody because I'm just that cool. And if you want to hear more from
your shirt,
I'm way too cool. If you want to hear more from me, you can listen to my podcast, This Week in News with Kevin and Benedict. You can also become my patron over there. It's patreon.com/Kevin and Benedict. That is a real Patreon.
That's the real one.
That's the real one.
That's it?
Ooh, Hillel said my mic stopped working, so I'll plug from the comments.
All right, plug from the comments, Hill. Everybody, Hill rocks. There you go.
I'm too tired. I gotta go. I gotta go to bed. So, good night, everybody.
All right, good night, Kevin. Thanks for joining us.
Night, you young.
And get me that address for your Darwin fish that you won.
I keep forgetting. Remind me tomorrow.
Will do. Good night, sir.
Good
Thanks for joining. RJ, tell us how cool you are. All that you do for free. Make sure you mention that you basically give information to everyone for free, and then mention your.
My goal.
Go ahead.
Everything. Yeah, my goal is to help crush creationism even more than it has been previously. And to do that, I've been investigating their underlying methods and pinning down the sources on a level that absolutely nobody else has ever done before, as in like tens of thousands of sources, to be able to slice and dice them. And you'll find tons of material, thousands of pages worth, if you plow through it, already up at tortukan.wordpress.com, where I've got the main hashtag tip troubles in paradise site. And it's all volunteer supported. There's links to the GoFundMe that I've got up. I've just started generating a Patreon too, that I've still got to hear a notification as to when that's going to be up to where people can give stuff to that too. I'm a pathetic old fart who's on Social Security that's suddenly way less than I need to live on. So I really do need the support to get by on this. And also in the book writing department, I probably would have all put this stuff up free at the tip site, and the Evolution Slam Dunk eventually will be free material if I can live long enough to get that process. But I had to go the book writing route to get more income to be able to survive. Everybody who wants to be ahead of the curve, get Evolution Slam Dunk, the reptile mammal transition. It covers not only that science stuff, but also every single anti-evolutionist who has ever ventured onto that turf. Nobody has gathered all this material together. They'd only paid a little bit of attention to Dwayne Gish 30 years ago. Everybody had just let it slide. Well, what it means is you can throw at people, if they say there's no such evidences for macroevolution, you can throw the reptile mammal transition after them, and you will know all the science facts, and you will know every possible counter argument that they could possibly throw at you, because you will have understood and studied, because I've covered it all of the material from all the different creationists and intelligent designers. So you will have the counter argument ready and raring to go. And I felt that this was a field that nobody had covered before, so I had to write the damn book on it. And gradually, people, Cy, you've got the copy of the book.
I got the copy.
Give some of your reaction to it.
I would recommend that folks purchase it. That's what I will say.
It's thoroughly documented. I wish I could have had a normal publisher to where we could have put in illustrations. In fact, Christine Janis, the paleontologist, who found information in my book to revise her own new mammal book, said, yeah, you need pictures. And I go, duh, I would have liked to have done that, but I had to go the routes that I could go at. And just in case you are also a fiction reader, I have a novel out there to boot, a steampunk mystery science fiction retelling of Jules Verne that I think is a kick butt piece of entertainment as well. You can, if you go to my hashtag tip website, the www.tortukan.wordpress.com, you can find all of the links to all of the material. You can find links to the books. You can find links to my GoFundMe. Please, Can Rattle, help. Tell everybody in your networks to do. Cy has been very nice to retweet stuff on that, but still getting people to get off the duff and actually help is something that has been really tough to do. I'd like to think that the secular community and the pro-science community can marshal our resources and make this thing work, because the stakes are really damned high now. We've got an administration that is as anti-science as any in history, that are going to be putting their thumbs down on so many things, from cutting the NASA budget for remote sensing that's going to affect climatology research, to potentially Betty DeVos trying to maybe get intelligent design in the schools. Who knows what will happen in the wacky world of Trumplandia? And I think that everybody needs to get together to where we've got our evidence up. When I'm going to be down at the March for Science on the 22nd, there's a local demonstration here in Spokane down in our Riverfront Park, and I'm hoping everybody that hears the voice will check to see if they've got an activity that's in their local area, so everybody can be involved with this. These are perilous times we're living in, especially for science lovers. And although I've been rattling my stupid can, and I don't know how many people sit all the way down to this point of listening to the shameless plugs, but I need the help, folks. I really do.
All right.
I want
Thank
to
you,
do good
RJ.
work.
I will say that everything that RJ has said is entirely accurate. Anyone that was even considering, I told you folks before, everyone viewing, that if you were thinking of going to my Patreon and just showing up is much better, I will amend that to anyone that was considering going to my Patreon, patreon.com/SciStrike. In fact, support RJ. He's been giving out information for free for a long time, and that deserves your support. Deserves my support, and I will give it.
Well, you have supported it. You have contributed, and I thank you very much for that, because it's something which puts the money where the mouth is. And I know we've got enough people out there to do this without anybody trying to hawk the house. Just the equivalent of a $5 latte. If enough people did it, boy, things would be great. But it's getting that crowd to move that's been the trouble.
Agreed. And I will say, anyone that was even considering going to my Patreon, do me a favor. Just show up, say hi, like you always do, and instead go over to RJ's Patreon. He certainly deserves.
Which will probably be a couple days yet before it's up, but the GoFundMe is definitely up, and you can find the links to that, whichever ways work on that, and the books. Oh, by the way, I invite all feedback. At the main hashtag tip website, there are comment sections, and everything in there if you have questions to be asked. Also on Twitter, pick my damn brain. I am more than willing to give answers if you're saying, well, some creationist I've heard says such and so, or what kind of arguments would be best to use in a particular case. I will think about it. I will give you the information on that. I can point you to specific science works and other things to give you that leg up. And I want to do this. I can do this. This is the thing that I'm trained for. And I'm happy to be of help to anybody so that we can all make our case better and make it so it's not simply a matter of listening to a Neil deGrasse Tyson authority figure, that we can internalize all this science data ourselves so that we at the grassroots can be the ones to make the difference.
All right. Oh, good night, Emma. Thanks for joining us. Anyway.
Yes, you were wonderful.
Yes. Emma is also so far, the queen. Oh, geez, I forgot to award points. 10,000 internet points awarded to MMA for her wonderful pun that I mentioned last week when Buster made an error. Buster the Atheist Pug made an error in one of his videos, and I said that he had made a faux pas, and Emma pointed out that it should have been a faux pas. So enjoy your internet points. Use them in good health. All right. Everybody got that. If you're even thinking of going to my Patreon, support RJ. He's been giving out information, valuable information, for a long time. Oh, and there was a question earlier in the comments, RJ, about a YouTube channel. RJ and I have been talking about possibilities of doing something on this channel for a while. And it was we had talked about possibly titling it Evolution Hour, or anyway, it's to be firmed up in the near future. RJ, correct me if I'm wrong. RJ will be appearing on this channel to start, and then once he's got a nice following, then spinning off and having his own channel where it's all RJ. Is that correct, sir?
No, I have actually done well, and I actually have a YouTube channel.
Oh, you do?
Where I've been putting up periodically. Yeah, I've done short videos, typically about 5 minutes long, yipes. I think I'll have to put in the little email or the Twitter to you, the linkage up what the channel is. In fact, I just put another one up today for about the Patreon thing, which would supposedly be another couple days before it'll be up to actual functioning. But I've got about a dozen videos up, and most of them are on evolution topics, and particularly ones that I think need to do. Like there's been a big back and forth at Stu Moran's Sandwalk about my definition of evolution, that I want to have a simple evolution definition that's natural branching common descent, at least insofar as you relate it to creationists. Too many science defenders will use a gene-centered one that says allele frequency change over time, which is correct, but boy, it kind of leaves you far from the fossil end, and I offered a different approach to it. Anyway, I've been putting those videos up. And anybody that wants a particular subject covered, I'm happy to do a video on it. That you can put a question to that effect on the hashtag tip site, and I'll be happy to oblige. There's so many areas that I can't necessarily tell what's going on at the grassroots. That's
Start streaming. Says we're live. Okay, stream
Yeah.
is continuing. Let me get to that. Was very odd. I've never had OBS crash before. Let's get back to
It's the creator of the universe does not like us.
All right, people watching. Was there an interruption? OBS crashed over here for some unknown reason. I did save the log, so I'll find out why. Someone please tell me if you are viewing us still. Okay, there's the usual lag, so we won't know.
I'm just amazed as an old fart who grew up in when I was just a teenager, that would be in the 1950s and 60s, that the world, the idea that you could sit in your desk and have a computer that was more powerful than every computer on Earth, and that you would have instantaneous communication where you could send pictures and have discussions like this would be absolute magic when I was growing up. And this is an entire new layer of what we can do. And it can be used for good, or it can be used for Jeranism and dumb people down. But I'm a hopeful person that I think that these are tools that improve us as a species, that improve us as a world, because it makes it harder for dumb people and tyrannies to get away with their bullshit, because we're going to have more people like us there to call them out on it.
All right, there we go. All right, I just put in the public chat that OBS had a little headache, and then just restarted. Hopefully, folks are still there.
Yeah, and I tried to fill the airtime.
And a fine job you did. Just waiting for acknowledgement.
I'm not bad at improv.
All right, close reopen. Okay, Frank's telling them to close reopen. That's cool. And
yeah, I'm amazed the technologies work at all. When you think about the hurdles and things that are doing, that it's amazing. I'm amazed that I have a printer, although at the moment I don't have money for ink. But nevertheless, that you have in effect a home printing office, that you can do the PowerPoints and the PDFs and all the kinds of things that were the sort of things that were the preserve of people with printing presses. That now human beings can create things individually. That just, it's like Gutenberg cubed. It's just astonishing.
Indeed, you see the flaw in that, though, that just about everyone with any wacky idea can do exactly what we're doing and publish it as
that's
truth.
been the way from the get-go. And the way to blunt stupid ideas is with not stupid ideas, and to be able to have your game up to speed so that you're not being blindsided. This is the same point of how difficult is it, as we've shown, to pull apart the flapdoodle that you get into when you see a Jeranism or our Lady Red, that, or Ken Ham or Kent Hovind or any of these people, that they can spew out in short order piles of dumb. But that was happening in the old days when they were doing them in pamphlets and magazines and other contexts. The thing is that because it's happening so quickly in real time, you've got to be able to react in real time the same way. And that's why that we can make use of the equivalent of being able to slow the thing down and parse it out and make that information available, so that they'll try to pull the same shtick the next time, but you've got to have it where your cultural network can say, oh, excuse me, but we've actually looked at the things and pulled apart what your argument is, and you ain't going to cut it. So that with more and more people paying attention, then the people have to decide. I mean, if the world decides that the equivalent of the Jeranisms is true, then we're doomed, and that's the end of it. But I'm inclined to think that more people are going to be ones that will be ignited by the imagination of the things that are really true, and that the ring of truth that comes out from all that stuff that's really true, and that's going to win out if we have that open access to information, and we don't have the internet companies selling all of our stuff the way it's now legal to do because of the Congress.
Indeed. That was another disturbing thing.
Yeah. This is what's ironic, because this is exactly the kind of individual free conscience sort of thing that you would think your typical culture camp conservative religious person should be opposed to. And yet there they are, just basically leaving the barn door open and not bothering about what's happening next. So this is an odd time we live in.
All right. Indeed. Okay, well, as I said before, everybody keep in mind that RJ basically has been giving out valuable information for free for a very long time, and that does deserve all of our support.
Yeah, I'm no rich guy like Darwin who has an external income. I'm literally a Social Security retiree. I had to go on early. And so I've just been scraping ends meet for the last quite a few years, and it's been tough going and still is tough going. And I'd love to have enough wind at my sails in my back so that my ship doesn't go over the horizon and sink. Instead, I can actually reach the promised land and help people, and together we can really make some amazing things happen.
Indeed, and we'll try and get that going. Alrighty. You know what? God damn it! I'm gonna play the cartoon size strike anyway. There's only there's only us. And by the way, RJ, as long as I've known you, how is it I did not know until this night that you had a YouTube channel?
Well, yeah, I can't. I think I may have mentioned it briefly, and it's a very new thing for me. Literally, one of my close friends who has been helping me going bought the camera for the computer and helped install it. I mean, this is all the most wonderful volunteers that have been behind me and all the things that I do. And finally, then I figured out, okay, I can figure out how to use the thing and store the video. Once I learn how to do a tool, even though I am an old fart from the era of dial telephones and rabbit ears on TVs, I can learn some new tricks. So once I learn how to do something, then I will want to make the most of it. I still am complete brain dead yet on how to like embed visuals and other kinds of stuff in the video. It's very, very straightforward. Just record the video and move. But I think I can do at least as well as Red can.
That you can. That you can. And very good. Make sure I have that when the little message you send me. Make sure it includes the YouTube channel name and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll put a blurb in on that one. And whenever I'm mentioning any particular science issues over that on the YouTube channel, I'll put the links to those things as well, because sometimes technical papers come up, and so that they can actually link to them directly from the description that I have up on the YouTube thing.
Indeed. All right. Well, here's what I'm going to need before I play the very brief Psystrike cartoon dude. Somebody in the public chat needs to say something stupid that requires RJ to call drink so that I can finish the third and final mug of truth.
Oh, so, yeah. So all I'm seeing is just Psystrike's pug up on the screen. I'm not even seeing the room or anything else at the moment.
Really? Hold on.
Yeah,
let me make sure.
Seeing at the moment.
All right, hold on.
Just the pug. Psystrike exclamation mark.
All right, hold on. Let me get this going for you. Hold on. Here's OBS. That's because I closed OBS. That's why. There we go.
Well, shame on you, sir. Psystrike is presenting now. We're starting to see some. There we go. Yeah, Sub-Zero, Femino.
All right, you're good. Now, that being the case, I will need someone from someone in the chat just say something stupid so that RJ can call drink and I can finish the third and final mug of truth. Hey, waste not, right? You know, considering the caliber of our regular viewers, I don't know that any of them are capable of saying anything that's deserving of calling drink. Oh, Hill's got it.
Red deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Drink!
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, that's
the third and final mug of truth
Nobel,
is empty.
Remember that Mr. Nobel was the dynamite guy, and don't we know that our red is just real brain dynamite? As in that after it's done, all the brain parts are splattered all over the wall, like and you can use all of that science stuff to figure out the trajectory of all the little brain parts and what they landed on. And some of them congealed into strange little squares, and that's the stuff that we see on the wall on there. Now, it still doesn't explain the Frisbee. That, after all, is clearly a depiction of the curved Earth, which, after all, is blue and has a white logo in the middle. That's Kansas. Jeranism is a true scholar. Double drink.
Oh my. All right, that does it. The mug of truth is now officially empty.
Vampires sparkle in sunlight. Actually, if we want to be technical about it, the Bram Stoker novel had Dracula appear occasionally during the daylight. And it wasn't that the vampire can't appear during the daylight, is that he doesn't have any supernatural powers, according to the Bram Stoker lore. So he can only do his magic-y stuff during the daytime, I think at noon exactly. And then, of course, at dusk and night time. So there's a little sub-lore that's occurring. An awful lot about the vampire lore was actually made up by Bram Stoker for the novel. Back in the 1890s. And I think some like the idea that a vampire can't cross moving water except at the turn of the tide. There were a couple little things that he put in. And he made actually a big plot point about the idea that the vampire can't appear at the daylight, and they discover to their amazement that Dracula has been traipsing around moving his boxes of earth in the daylight. Oh, that was another one, that the vampire can't move his own funeral or his own casket dirt. And Dracula discovers to his amazement that he can do that. And so once he realizes that, because he's supernaturally strong, he's moving them all around the place. So there's an intriguing, almost science-y quality to the kind of logical structure that Bram Stoker did for Dracula. Didn't think you were going to get that as a subtopic, did you?
In fact, no. All right. You want to see the
Not a day come with Nosferatu. Yeah, that was definitely the thing. Nosferatu is the famous 1922, I think, version that they didn't have the rights to film Dracula, and so they changed the name to Nosferatu and reset it in a different location. They were blatantly stealing the plot of it, but they were trying to get just as far away as possible in terms of copyright infringement in the 20s. And there's recently a new DVD that's come out where they recorded the original music that was written for Nosferatu back in the 1920s by, I think, Huppert. That's kind of fun because you don't often get to see silent films with the actual film scores that were written for them for the big market. The one for Metropolis is just spectacular to hear. I'm a film buff, among other things.
well, it certainly is an art form. All righty.
Yeah, I'm a big film music buff as well, so I've always been fascinated by how cinemusic is used in movies, and silent films were tricky because of the fact that many films would have had scores written for them, but people in certain markets would never have heard them because they didn't have a regular orchestra to play that music, so they would have been some idiot plunking away on a piano.
Indeed. Which still had its charm. All right.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm actually very few of the silent film era symphonic composers ever made the transition to sound. They basically couldn't tackle how to score for sound movies. And it was really Max Steiner in the 1930s with movies like King Kong and that kind of figured out the technique to have music that popped in at times, but not at other times. And there was now a new balancing act that changed cinemusic forever.
all right. Very good. Well, here is the coming up will be the Sci-Strike Cartoon Me.
Oh,
and
Patchwork Revolution has a question. Did you see that?
Oh, no, I did not.
Sci-Strike, do you guys plan on doing some other conspiracy stuff like aliens and paranormal stuff? That would be fun to do. It's just as wacky as anything you'll find in the Flat Earther venue.
Absolutely. We've just been focused on the Flat Earth of late because they seem to be quite virulent. And oddly enough, it seems to be growing, which is just frightening. But yes, the answer
I'm
to
not
that is
sure
yes.
whether there's actually more of them or they're just crawling out of the woodwork like cockroaches when you turn the light off.
It could be either, but a lot more, shall we say, celebrities are jumping in on
Yeah,
on the whole thing.
Was it a sports guy that was suddenly saying that he was skeptical about the moon landing? And I can't remember what thing he was from, but he was a football player or something. And then some rap artist, I think, had a joust with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I do not exactly follow all of the popular culture, you see, so I'm not immediately aware of all of their little names. But still, I do kind of bump into that.
Indeed.
And sometimes it'll be mentioned on. I get all of my contemporary culture from at midnight because they put my tune right into the world of the millennials, because they're always lampooning the stuff, so I can find out kind of vicariously all the material that I'm way too old and disinterested in.
Indeed. But the answer to that is yes. We are not just strictly creationists and flat Earth people. We will certainly be looking at various conspiracy theories and things of that sort.
Yeah.
All
In
right.
fact, ancient astronaut guys in particular would be an interesting intersect, because there you got your space aliens, but you've also got that super civilizations of the past stuff that bumps into the Noah's Ark crowd, and so you get an awful lot of cross-cultural pollinating in that venue that could really be kind of fun, and you probably have to have an awful lot of drink spots on any one of those. You'd have to be very careful in picking something that would not shoot right off the boundary layer. I'm not sure right off the bat what the typical ancient astronaut video length is, whether or not it runs at about 15 minutes or 30 minutes or not. I haven't done a survey.
Indeed. Well, if we could also switch to wine coolers or something of that sort that has a lower
Well,
alcohol content.
I'm running off iced tea, so and I'm not talking about the wrapper. For my drink of choice, I don't mind a good daiquiri during the summertime, and sherry in the autumn and winter. But for this sort of purpose, the iced tea works just fine for me.
Oh, very good. So when summer finally hits, we need to be a little careful with these videos with you. That's what you're saying.
Well, no, I at the moment there's not a snowball's chance in hell that I could afford a damn bottle of rum, so that's the least of my concerns at the moment.
Well, like I said, we'll try and do something about that. Anyway,
ancient astronauts, where did they go? Pheno again, and why was the best they could introduce into Earth technology scratching some rocky plains? My favorite line was one way back at the time of Eric von Däniken. There was a guy who wrote a just hilarious parody of von Däniken. He called it "Space Shoes of the Gods," and that I read in I think Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. And then another guy pointed out about how the Nazca lines in South America were supposedly the landing fields for spaceships. And he says, yes, the image of a World War II prop job chugging in from Andromeda and requiring a landing field of dirt 10 miles long is really violating the misplaced concreteness idea.
all right. All right, let us play the Sci-Strike Cartoon Me. And yes, I really did, in fact, shave my head. So here it is. This is an accurate representation of Sci-Strike. And oh, by the way, this is me bellyaching about the new budget. Here we go. The new federal budget. Here we go.
Yeah, that's scary.
So the new budget proposes cutting funding to Meals on Wheels, Health and Human Services, the EPA, National Endowment for the Arts, Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Department of Education, all climate research. I don't like what we've become. I don't like it at all. There you go.
That's a cute cartoon there. Anybody, all they have to do on one for me would be make somebody that looks a bit like Machiavelli. I'm a dead ringer for him. I mean it honestly. So that
wait a minute.
Just use that.
You didn't like the one in the upcoming?
Oh, I'm happy with that. I have no problem with that. That was a funky one. But for actual resemblance, I resemble Machiavelli. If you look at the picture of me that I got on my Facebook page and all the rest, and or on my Twitter thing, it's all the same mug. It was a picture my niece had taken when we were at a dinner at one time. And if you look at Niccolo Machiavelli, yeah, we're twins separated at birth. It's he's just a geeky Italian, and I'm a geeky non-Italian.
Very good. All right, and the cartoon individual I just mentioned that is a representation of RJ will be featured in the upcoming rebuttal to the movie that Buster the Atheist Pug went to see, called "Is Genesis History?" The rebuttal is called "Is Genesis History Science?" It's going to be on 2 channels, obviously this one and Pauladia's channel, and he's been prodding me to finish up production so we can get started. But look for that somewhere in the vicinity of Monday. That should be out. We should be starting that.
Yes. I think I read my lines okay.
Oh, you did. You did indeed. You definitely rocked that. All right.
That's my theater background again.
Very good. Yes, RJ has a character in that production, and we obfuscated his involvement by naming the character RJ. We figured that would confuse everyone.
Yeah, who would ever know? Who would ever think about it? Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we didn't want to dox you. We wanted to make sure that you were protected behind a wall of secrecy.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm afraid the cat's out of that bag because I'm a total open access person. I'm always under my own face and name. I have no nom de plumes. It's not like that idiot Henzo guy on Twitter who has about more name changes on his Twitter handle than Trump has bankruptcies. But no, I everything that I say is intended for public consumption. Everything that I write is for public access and view. That anything that I say, I think it's honest, and you need to say it to everybody. And it's not something where I'm hiding behind a pseudonym or anything like that. I am a retired fart, so I don't have a job to lose on there, so I can do that. But it's just essential to my way of looking at the world that you stand up for what you believe honestly and as an individual, and you let the devil take the hindmost.
Very good. Well, oddly enough, I am retired also, just a little bit early. If you recall, I actually sold my IT managed services company so I could do this sort of thing full time. Think of the logic in that.
I had already begun TIP quite a few years before. I was doing it just as a hobby, investigating the science resources and all of that. And I got into it more intensely since 2009, but I was still doing regular 40-hour work days all the way down to 2012 until there was some shakeup at the company, and kaboom, I was out. But I can tell you that the amount of work that I'm doing is not something I can do as a part-time thing. That the data stream that is pouring in and my ability to keep track of all that material is one that I got to focus on it a lot. And
Indeed.
Even when I'm online, about the only time I'm not online is in things like this, where I got to focus my attention on that and actually take time off of the work. Plus, you get if my computer didn't seize up a little bit on there and get feedback, I probably would have been working on my spreadsheets and that while we were doing the videos. But that was kind of impractical. I tried that once. But otherwise, when I'm online on Twitter, putting my little snarky comments, I'm also doing research at the same time. And I've been trying a technique of applied tip, where I'm now widening out my Twitter connections to be following all the major anti-evolutionists. And whenever they come up, whenever they poke their head up, and you've spotted me doing this, I'm sure, when they make some statement, I'll jump in right on the Johnny on the spot to put a counter thing right up there in front of them. And if they bring up a technical field, Ross is very fond of these gee whiz posts where he'll cite a new technical paper and imply that this is something to do with design or providence. And I'm going, no, there's an evolutionary history behind it. And I'll cite a technical paper directly that is relating to the subject that he inadvertently brought up. And I think that kind of stuff, if you had not hundreds, but thousands of people all over the world all doing that kind of thing instead of just letting the wing nuts wander around peripherally, it could have a difference. We don't know. We have to try it out.
Indeed. All right. Well, damn it, except for that whole Jeranism fiasco at the beginning, this was
oh gosh, that was terrible.
This
Boy,
was
that
a damn
was
good. I usually expect a little.
Your work. Yeah, because he had kind of fancy visuals and stuff when he's doing stuff off the mark. He's got his cute little logo of the kind of world blowing up or some such thing that he has as his frontispiece. But boy, these other things are just terrible lame. I mean, you really think a picture of nothing but black with occasional whiffles of light is telling us anything? No.
Well, who knows? His bank of followers may just like hearing his little comments now and then. It may be comforting for them. Who the hell
How many
knows?
followers does he have, by the way?
Lots, like all the flat earthers. It may be the same followers for all of them, but it's.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true. But anyways, into like thousands or.
Oh yeah, way the hell up there. Hold on, I'll look
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Talk about
Yeah,
something.
because technically I'm not offline.
Talk about something while I do
I'm
this.
Oh, I can't imagine talking about just something or other. Let me see what we got going on in here. Yeah, bringing up the very point about how many people are following stuff, this allows us to triage. Those numbers are really kind of important. Although the flat earth movement is hilarious and weird, it's peripheral. And so in many respects, it doesn't matter what they do because they don't have an impact on things. Now, geocentrists actually have a bit of an impact because they're in more of the mainstream of creationism, often the side area, but they actually have an impact. Quite a lot of the anti-evolution legislation from the 1980s and also stuff in the 21st century has been fomented by people who are geocentrists. And Tom Willis, who is very geocentric friendly, is the guy that wrote the 1999 Kansas state science standards. I'm not making this up.
All right,
and,
we've got the number for you. It's 65,114.
Woo!
That's a damn good number,
well,
don't you
that's an
think?
interesting measure. Now, it would be interesting, and there's no way of knowing right off the bat, is how many of them are ones that have just like a pro-science people that follow that person to follow them so they can criticize them. I suspect most aren't. So that's 65,000. It's probably a fair ballpark figure that maybe 50,000 could actually represent pro-flat Earth people. Now, out of a population of 7 billion, that doesn't surprise me. So when you have to think about how many flat earthers were active in the 19th century, as opposed to now, and adjust for the population, I'm not sure 50,000 is a scary number. It may be just the demographic blip.
Indeed, and let us not forget, not that I would ever accuse Jeranism of dishonesty of any sort, but let us not forget the possibility of sock puppet accounts.
Yeah, there's certainly a bit of that going on. I operate, though, as a default to where I presume, unless evidence is presented to the contrary, that everybody online is actually kind of reflecting what they really believe. And that means I'm generating a ceiling value. So that 65,000 is a ceiling, probably not a floor. And how much of that reflects real live wing nuttery, demographics, people and that maybe be able to deal with, and it's potentially a knowable subject. Probably a way that somebody beyond my pay grade would be to look at all of the various connectors, because a lot of these things as to who subscribes to who is public domain information. And it's a matter of people doing kind of what I'm doing in my TIP project, where I'm constructing spreadsheets. I'm looking at it from a source point of view. So just to explain what I'm doing in the meta-analysis department, I'm not only cataloging all of the sources that I have, and you can see that in the bibliography that is at the TIP site. Don't try to print it. They're 2 big doc files, and they're 2,500 pages altogether. So this is not something you want to print out. It's 40,000 sources. But I've got spreadsheet meta-analysis where I break that down by a lot of categories and also keep track of who authors everybody, and also who in the creationism movement cites stuff. Literally nobody has ever measured this stuff before, not the National Center for Science Education or Richard Dawkins or anybody else. They've never thought to measure this, and it would have not been easy to measure before. But it's meant that I've now found things that surprise me. That there's only been about 2,300 sources, technical science papers so far that I've found that have been cited by the entire anti-evolution movement. And the number will probably get a little bit bigger as I catalog more stuff, but there's an awful lot of repetition. That is out of a field of over 20,000 relevant technical work. So it's only about less than 15%, more close to 10% when you weed out the dated material and that kind of stuff. So that means I'm measuring that anti-evolutionists are missing 90% of the data set. I'm not guessing it. And then the authors of those 20,000 technical papers in my list are written by some 53,000 scientists. I got them listed, named, counted up. And so I can see how many anti-evolutionists are on that list, because I can see the list of the people who do anti-evolution work. And it turns out it's a really small number, like 60. And so the idea that even though you've got anti-evolutionists who have degrees and have published in some regular science works, it's just peripheral compared to the big block of people actually doing the work. Another number that surprised me and a few others when they found out about it is how small the core group is in anti-evolutionism, the people who are actually making the science claims and citing the primary source literature. There's only about 36 of them in the entire anti-evolution movement. It's just that small. 2/3 of them are young Earth creationists, and about 1/3 of them are the intelligent design camp. And that is, for all practical purposes, the people who post at the Discovery Institute. If a bomb hit them, you would vaporize the entire intelligent design movement. And so it's a really small bunch of people. Now, they get influence beyond their boundaries, but we have to remember that people like Kent Hovind, more so even than Ken Ham, are the ones that are actually being paid attention to by the people on the street. That I have bumped into way more people who have seen a Kent Hovind video than have ever read a book by Michael Behe or even studied much of Answers in Genesis posts. So when you realize who the players are and what sources they're relying on and who is generating the core information, you can target your arguments more precisely because you're not bothering with the peripheral. You can go after the ones that are actually affecting people.
All righty. Okay.
Boy, do I talk a lot.
I would say a decent amount. That being the case, since Pheno 3000 has mentioned how cool the pug is, I'm guessing it might be time to bring on the pug. Any objections?
Say goodbye because otherwise we'll go on together. It was nice, fun seeing the cartoon though. That was cute. A nice room. I love the tripod lamp.
I'm actually impressed you noticed that.
My niece would be in love with your room. She's 1960s retro modern mode at the moment, and she would just absolutely go into seventh heaven to see that picture.
Nice. You think we should throw the unicorns out there to kind of cleanse the palate?
For a smile, they're so sweet.
All right,
you need to modify that so that the rainbows actually come out of a unicorn's ass. That would make it even more appropriate. But it may require some photoshopping.
It may. All right, very good. This is to cleanse the palate of all the foolishness you've all been subjected to. Here's some unicorns.
Fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows. Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows.
I do hope that has helped to remove all the foolishness. And
who could not like pine trees, mountain ranges, unicorns, rainbows, and pots of gold? All you're missing are leprechauns and cucumbers to make the picture complete.
Absolutely. All right. That being the case, I would like to thank everyone for joining the Hangout and for watching and commenting. And let us bring on Buster the Pug. He's the real star of the show anyway.
Yep.
Oh, Curvizon. Pheno, you're right. We didn't mention the Curvizon. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it. I now have this song on the phone, so it can be played when I'm driving in Bob the Wonder Jeep. Bob the Wonder Jeep is approaching 400,000 miles, by the way.
Wow.
Bob rocks. Bob is the one that took me to see the launch, Maryland, at the NASA Social.
Oh, yeah, I've never been able to see it. Of course, I didn't see a space shuttle launch. Okay. We need a proper reusable space plane, damn it. And then we need acceleration platform. platforms. Thermonuclear engines. The whole solar system, backyard.
You know, I'm wondering why we don't have rotating sections for artificial gravity. There's an awful lot of bellyaching about the vision problems of astronauts. Artificial gravity would solve that. Let's have some damn rotating sections.
2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, the GravSats are you can get a smaller size, but you have to have faster rotation, or do it at like 1/6G, which is allowable. The other way, of course, is acceleration. If you've got a spacecraft that can accelerate at 1G, you're under gravity, except under the brief periods when you're landing at your site, or during the flip over when you turn the engine around and start decelerating. But acceleration platforms, it's only 3.5 hours to the moon, it's only a couple days to Mars, and it's only a week to Pluto.
Oh, wait. Best part of the song. I hope everybody's doing the fist pump.
Fist bump.
Best part of the song. All right. Thank you, everybody. All the viewers, thank you. And thank you for commenting. We will see you next time. Do have a good morning.